yearning wherever you wanna go. I'm gonna walk by your side for everything I'm worth. And if the journey makes you stumble or the road is far too long, then backwards we will wander. I will never turn around, 'cause I know everything you said, everything you've done, whatever you want, whatever you need, rely on me.
Whoa. And we're live. Good morning, Rob Winters.
Good morning, Craig Lockhart. How are you?
All right, dude. Good to see you.
Hey, you as well.
This is pretty cool.
It's a lot of fun. I like this.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good day.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day. You didn't drive the camper, though, man. Like, it's like I see you pull up in a... Is that a rental or is that yours?
No, that's mine.
That's yours. It's like I see you pull up in a car and it's like, well, that's not Rob. Doesn't have this gigantic house.
Right?
He pulls around. Yeah. Rob has a double wide that he, that he drives across the country to do recruiting deals for Automax around the country. So, hey, everybody, thanks for joining us on the Recruiter Podcast. I haven't been on here in a week. I think it's been a week. Good morning, Adam, over there. Producer Adam, millionaire producer Adam. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you, dude?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm great. Hey, this has nothing to do with nothing, and I forgot. And I didn't set you up with this beforehand, but I don't know if you guys are big-time college basketball people, but did you guys hear John Thompson passed away yesterday?
Did see that, yes.
Yeah. Could you check this, Adam? Is he the only black NCAA coach to win? Georgetown won the championship, didn't they?
He was the first one, I think.
Yeah. There's been others, right? Been other black coaches?
I would imagine
I
there
should know this.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
Kind of put me on the spot there.
Yeah, I know, man. Sorry. But that's why you're millionaire producer Adam, so.
Do what I can.
Yes. So, we haven't been in the studio in about a week or so, and so it feels good to be back. Just for those of you that were, afraid's the wrong word. Those of you that were had some trepidation about being in studio, as you can see, Rob and I do not have masks on. We are about 6 feet apart, but we also perma-safed the entire studio here about a month and a half ago. So we are sanitized, clean, protected from viruses at the tune of 99.999%. So what that means, I didn't expect to go this way. And I should have brought PermaSafe up with me today and a little product placement here, but because Automax, actually one of our newer companies, MaxSafe Consulting, handles, we distribute PermaSafe, and it's a tremendous product. But to give you an idea, if you had an 8-inch square in front of you, and it had let's say 1 million, and this is like correct math, 1 million particles of viruses and bacteria in that 8-inch square piece in front of you, okay, with what's called a 5-log kill, that 99.999%,
Right.
That means if it's been perma-safed, both step 1 and step 2. Step 1 cleans, deodorizes, sanitizes, and then step 2 is what actually produces electronic protons that attract the negative neutrons, the virus, the bacteria,
right,
and they kill it on contact.
Okay.
It would bring that down to 10, from 1 million to 10. Now, 1 million viruses and bacteria would concern me a little bit. 10, not so much.
Better odds.
Right.
Much better odds.
Right. So those guests that we had lined up that you guys kind of bailed, totally get it, understand it. But let's, and Sarah, if you're listening, I saw you liked it. We got to get you in studio here, girl. And some others that we had lined up that because of this craziness that's going on, decided not to. But Nevertheless, we have Rob here because he's fearless.
Absolutely.
And so, Rob, I want to let for those of the country that don't know you, they will hear in a little bit. But I wanted to. We've been starting off a lot of guests with the same question.
Okay.
It's like, imagine if you would, somehow an open point becomes available to you. Manufacturer doesn't. Well, it does. I don't. What would you like to own? What kind of dealership?
I'm a Honda guy.
Honda, right. Well, good choice. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll find out here shortly. Yeah, so, all right, Honda dealership, open point, black tops down, the lighting's up, the building is built, everything's brand new. You had some money, the banks had some money, Honda had some money. A Honda dealership, I might be kicking in a couple bucks. All right, so if you want a minority partner, I'm in. And it's what can we call Winter's Honda? Sounds pretty good, actually.
Works for me.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. Winter's Honda. That would be
It's got a
interesting.
nice ring to it.
Yeah,
actually.
you could do a lot with marketing with that, I think. So we got Winter's Honda. You're the dealer principal. What I'd like to do is get inside your head, and based on your experience, what would that place, quote, end quote, look like in terms of people, culture, process? What you start from scratch, so you got no dirty laundry, you got no bad reputation in the community that you have to overcome. It's like you're starting from scratch, man. It's your baby, and we're out to be number one. And how are we going to do this? And what's it going to look like? So.
Nice.
After we, right? So make a few million a year, and everybody go home happy. Yeah. You and investors and Mrs. Winters.
Oh, she'd be very happy.
She'd be pleased. So you have an interesting journey. So we'll get to that question, your answer to that question here in a bit, but which we talked about a little bit before the show, pre-show. The rest of it we don't. We just kind of make it up as we go along here. So.
Good with that.
Yeah, if we tell a couple lies, folks, we'll try to catch them and apologize for them as we go, or not. So, how long you been in the car business?
Let's see.
When was
It's
that?
going to be. Well, I
17?
I met Jerk Conover in February of 02.
02. So, all right. So it'll be
18, almost 19 years.
It'll be 19 years in February.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Yep. Just
Okay. All right. So I know most of the story, so I'll just get it started. So back then, let's see, 02?
2002. Yep.
All right. Did you see the ad online or in the
No,
newspaper?
It was a newspaper ad.
Newspaper
without
ad.
a doubt.
Right.
Big one too. It was a good size.
Oh, yeah.
He spent some money on that.
Oh, yeah. We used to push we used to push dealers pretty hard on.
Yeah.
Actually, those stupid newspaper ads, depending on the market, were more than our online advertising is.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, those were big display ads, man. And
was, yeah.
what paper would it have been for you?
For me,
Star
it was
Ledger?
The New York Star Ledger. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're still expensive, and nobody reads it.
Man,
And they're still expensive. All right, so you saw an ad, no experience needed, wanted, whatever.
Totally accidentally, by the way.
All right, tell me that story. That I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I had just sold a family deli. We were in the deli business. We were in the deli business for 18 years.
I don't even recall that.
Yeah.
Who, your dad?
Yeah, my dad and I started it. He retired. My wife and I ran it. It got kind of burned out after a while.
Yeah.
5 o'clock in the morning till midnight, 7 days a week.
Right.
The kids were behind the counter on Christmas morning.
Oh,
it was one of those places.
I didn't know that or forgot it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where was that at?
It was in Sloatsburg, New York, on Route 17.
Okay, that sounds like a challenge.
No, it was right on the New York Metro corridor. It was fantastic. It was a great location. Right outside of Harriman State Park, Seven Lakes Drive.
Okay.
It was just a gold mine. It was absolutely a gold mine. But we burned out, and at one point I had one of my customers came up to me and they said, "Hey Rob, if you ever decide you want to sell, let me know. I'm interested." And I said, "Let's go have lunch. Come on."
Really?
Yeah.
One of your customers?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good
local
luck.
guy. So we sold out, and then I went looking for something to do. And I can turn a wrench. You know, I'm fairly mechanically inclined. And I was actually on my way to a job interview in Fairfield, New Jersey at an HVAC place.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And I had a shirt and tie on, and I was about 2 hours early. And I kid you not, Craig, this is the gospel. I'm driving down Route 23 in northern New Jersey.
Yeah.
I stop at a traffic light on Jackson Avenue, and I look down on the passenger seat of my car. I kid you not. The Star Ledger is open, and your ad is in the middle of the page. I'm not lying.
Get out of here,
I kid
man.
you not. And it said Route 23 Honda. I'm at Jackson Avenue on Route 23. Honda's across the street.
No
Yeah.
effing way.
Deadly serious. I looked at my watch because in those days I wore a watch. I haven't worn a watch in years.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, I got time to kill. Let me go see what this is about. I never thought of being a car salesman. It was not on my list of things to
All
do.
right, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait. All right, so I blanked there for a minute.
Yeah.
So where were you going, or why were you there on that road?
I was on my way to a job interview at an HVAC place in Fairfield, New Jersey.
All right, so you're going for an interview for HVAC, and you're mechanically inclined, so that makes some sense, right?
Yeah.
You look down on the seat of your car, the newspaper's opening the Help Wanted classified ads.
Yep.
You see an ad, as it turns out, that was run by Automax, and you're literally right there.
I'm there. It was across the street. I kid you not.
I did not know that part of the story, man.
Yeah. Oh, it gets better.
Have you told her? I don't. Have you?
No, not in this detail, no.
That's
No.
awesome.
Yeah. So I made the jug handle because this is New Jersey. We do
Right.
jug handles.
Jug handles.
Right.
Yeah.
And I walked into the dealership, went up to the receptionist, and I said, I'm here to apply for the job. So she handed me an application, pointed to a table behind her and said, sit down, fill this out. The guy that's doing the interviews will be out momentarily. So I'm sitting there writing, and this guy comes out. It turns out it's Jer Conover.
Right.
And he's talking to the receptionist. And as I'm writing it, I'm listening. And she asked him, she said, you know, you're talking to a whole lot of people. What is it about these people that gets you to say yes to them? And I'm taking notes now.
Right.
And he said, it's all about eye contact. I said, okay. And I just put that in the bank. So I fill out the application. I hand it to him. He brought me into the office. And when I tell you, I didn't blink the entire interview. I mean, I stared this poor guy. He was squirming in the seat. I think that's the only reason he invited me back. I really do. Yeah, it was a great day. So obviously invited me back.
Right.
We went. There was a hotel that they did the training in. I did did 3 days of training.
So you went off site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was nice.
They didn't. Yeah. They didn't back then. They didn't have enough room.
Oh no, it was a small. They didn't have room in the showroom for cars.
Yeah.
Back then, not until they built the building later.
Yeah.
So we were in a hotel. Plus, there were like 35, 40 people in this group.
Is that right?
It was a boatload of us.
Wow.
Yeah, and when it was all over, there were probably 10 or 15 standing
Right.
on Friday.
Right.
And me and 4 other people made the cut.
Right. Yeah. Everyone else got. Yeah.
I know.
Put
I
somewhere
know.
or whatever.
He placed a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
those
so
of you that know, let me interrupt for just a minute. Jer Conover, who Rob is talking about, is our most seniored. Is that how you say it? Yeah, longest tenured recruiter trainer. I think Jer is at 20 years. Is he just 20 or 21 years? He's been with us, and I think you know this, or some people know this. When I first got my first management job in the late 70s, he was a new car sales manager at the dealership that I went to work at. And I worked as a closer. Then him and I were new car managers. Then I was used car manager. And then I became the general manager there in 79 or almost 80, I guess it was, right. Just before 1980. And Jerry and I worked together years there. He actually taught me a lot about how to be a manager and how to work deals and so forth. And then, he's been with us then it's 20, 21 years, something like that. So that's interesting. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I showed up Monday morning, and I went through the training. You know, they actually had legitimate training, unlike a few dealers we know, and it was a real good time. I sold cars in that store probably for about 5 years, I guess.
Right.
And training, they sent me to every seminar in the world. You know,
Did they?
Yeah, almost all Joe Verdi stuff. I spent a lot of time at the Newark Airport hotels.
Yeah.
You know, doing the 3-day
Well,
seminars.
that's important. You know, so back then, the way we used to do things is quite different than the way we do things now in a couple areas. Back then, we typically just held interviews on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then would do the initial training. It's basic,
Yeah.
but it was an initial training for 3 days,
Right.
and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of that week. Then we would turn over the people that we liked, that Jer liked,
Right.
obviously you included, to the dealer managers to choose from, and then they choose from that whoever was left standing. I think the way you put it, and that's
Yeah.
probably a good way to put it. And then they would pick from that group, and then the trainer at that time would attempt then to place those that what we call the host dealer didn't take
Right.
at a dealership nearby. But so you started out at least with some understanding
Oh yeah.
in that initial couple days of training of what the hell was going on and what the business was about. And Jer's been in the car business. Oh, what is Jerry, 97 years old? No, sorry, Jer. But Jer been in the business. I've been in the business 48 years. I think Jerry's somewhere around there. He's in the 40s somewhere. He might even be close to 50 years. But at any rate, he has some knowledge. Then after you were hired, they started your ongoing training right away at the store then?
Oh, immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, immediately. I didn't
man,
touch the floor for at least 3 weeks.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's the way it should
And they took a sales manager and pulled him off the desk, and he was our dedicated trainer. There were 5 of us in the group.
Okay, so it wasn't shadowing somebody
Oh, no.
and getting your deals split and all that?
No. No, we were fortunate. They had the entire Joe Verdi library.
Right.
You know, it was all on VHS.
Right.
We went through all of that with all the workbooks. At home, someplace, I got like 5 binders filled with completed workbooks from all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we did that. We did Cardone. They had the whole series of the Cardone tapes. They had all the Stuker's tapes. They had everything.
Right.
You know,
From time to time, I'll make fun of these guys, Verdi. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Grant, who I've had interactions with for, I don't know. Heck, I had him in my store in Jersey in when was that? 26 years ago. I've known Stuker. I was going to go to work with Tom. Wow. 25, 26, 27 years ago, something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
He flew me out to Chicago and so forth. So I know these guys pretty well. Verdi actually, I don't know that I've ever said this live. Verdi actually turned me down when I went to work for a guy by the name of Peter Bond. If there's old car guys on here, they'll remember that name and the old You Win Big worksheet and the smiles and the pens and all that. But Verdi actually passed on hiring me, which I found funny. My point is this. I don't necessarily agree with, especially today, Verdi's processes.
Oh yeah.
I definitely don't agree with Grant's. The word tracks are, in my opinion, they're great for him. But if you're not him, I think you're screwed.
Yep.
He's just on a different planet. You can take that however you want it if you know Grant. I think, do they get their own planets as a Scientologist? I'm not sure. I forget.
Oh man.
They get something. Or it's taken away in a spaceship or something. So, and then Stuker, in my opinion, Tom Stuker's a genius. He's actually literally ground zero for all phone BDCs. He is ground zero.
Tom is larger than life. We've had him in the store a couple of times. He's
crazy.
He's an excellent guy.
Yeah.
He actually talked us in to doing an episode of his car lot rescue.
Oh, is that
on
right?
Spike, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So check this out. So it's 1985. I left Greenwald's where Jerry and I worked.
Right.
I ended up being the general manager there. And I got a call from a dealership closer to my home. It was a Cadillac Olds AMC Jeep Renault dealership.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Huge piece of land. 2.5 gigantic buildings. Room for, I mean, we're talking in Canton, Ohio. We're not exactly a thriving metropolis, right?
Right.
But I could have put, I'll tell you what, and I tried to, we could have put 2,000 cars on this piece of property. All right. Now, when I got there, they're selling 100 cars a month. They're selling 5 or 6 new Cadillacs, 30 or 40, not even, 20 or 30 Oldsmobiles, 1 or 2 Jeeps, 1 or 2 Renaults. They had a Fuego.
Le Car.
Yeah. That stuff used to come in misbadged. What were those cars? A Reliant? No, that was whatever they were. The badges get screwed up. They were horrible cars. But, so they're selling, I don't know, 500-600 cars a year, let's say. In the end of the first year there, we delivered 2,800 cars in Canton, Ohio. That was like 1,000 more than Chevy stores were selling, Ford stores. It was like incredible. So I had this office in this secondary building. It was huge. It was where the body shop was at. And we had greeters at the time that would greet the customer. And then in my building, there was an outside greeter, then an assistant that sat in an office in front of me,
Right.
and then me. It was like, I thought it was a really big deal,
Yeah.
and it took, you had to go to 2 people to get to me. Okay. Yeah. Way inflated ego back in the day. So I see this pink Cadillac Eldorado convertible pull up in front of the building. And in it are a man or a woman, and they're both, I don't know who was prettier, him or her. I mean, they look like models getting out of his car. I'm going, the heck is this all about? So they go through the first greeter, and she points them in the building, and then they go to my assistant in front of me, and the assistant tried to talk them out of seeing me, but
Right.
they were pretty good. So she looked back at me, and I waved them at, I'm typical car guy. She was, the rep was.
You talk to, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I know.
so they come in, and she did most of the talking. And we represent Tom Stuker. Have you ever heard of him? And I had. Now, you got to remember, this is 1985.
Yeah.
But he was, at that time, putting on those seminars where he would, Rob, I saw him. They brought out a telephone on stage. Then they took a phone book and passed it around. He closed his eyes. They passed his phone book in the crowd. It was all car salesmen and managers.
Sure.
And he would just say, stop. And he didn't have any idea who was holding the phone book. He'd say, okay, pick a name. Out of the white pages of the flippin' phone book.
Yeah.
All right, give me the number. He's on stage. It's hooked up to the mic. Right? And he goes into a spiel. An outgoing cold call. Right? Makes 3 calls, gets 2 appointments. On stage, live. And I'm like, so at any rate. So she goes, we represent Tom Stuker. You're on our radar. We'd like to see if you'd be interested in this training. I said, no, I'm, King Kong the trainer, and actually at the time we had a phone room. We were like, we're ahead of our time.
Yeah.
But so, how much is it? And I think it was 10 grand. And I said, well, 1985.
Yeah,
$10,000.
That's some coin.
Yeah. It was like, no, like, thanks, but, and it's been great looking at you, but no. Have a nice day.
Thanks
right?
for stopping in.
And I didn't think anything more about it. Next day, up comes the Cadillac. It's only her. He's not there.
Right.
All right. She comes in. I said, hey, look, I don't mean to be rude, but we're super busy. And I told you no. And, I don't want to be a jerk off, but no is no.
Right.
She said, I understand. I just want to do this. We went ahead and took the liberty of calling your dealership last night, made 3 calls, and shopped your dealership. Here's the tapes. Just if you get a chance, listen to them. And then if you have any interest, just here's my card. Give me a call.
Did it make you want to cry?
Oh, my God. It was so... It was beyond horrible. The salesperson, and these people were trained, Rob. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had legitimate daily training meetings.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, this place we were on point. To sell 2,000 more cars one year than the next, you got to have something going on, right?
Yeah, you do.
These phone calls, Rob, we might as well, the salesperson on the other end of the phone might as well told the customer, hey, look, why don't you just go buy a car somewhere else?
Yeah.
They were almost that bad. But so, long story short, next, I'm going to my dealer's office and I'm going to spend 10 grand and
yep.
we need this man. And it was well worth it. But that's but I've known Tom for quite a while. I got some stories I'll tell you off air, but, as a matter of fact, I talked to Tom here. I chatted with him. I didn't get him on the phone. He was in Australia at the time about doing something with PermaSafe, and he declined. But he's an interesting guy, man. He's got his name's on 2. What does he fly? Delta or whatever? He's flown more miles than anybody else in the world.
Yeah, he's got a plane now. I think they retired that. They just retired that plane, I think.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
That's it.
But still, he's like a million miles or something silly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane. Mm-hmm. And, see how this goes?
It riffed.
Right. Yeah. He told me that when how that originally started, and you can't do it anymore, he paid them. And forgive me, Tom, if this ever gets back to you, but
it's like a golden ticket.
Yeah, it was maybe $100,000 or something.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money, but it was first class, lifetime.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
No restrictions. So where they really screwed up is he also got the points for the miles.
Right.
So he was getting freaking, a new set of golf clubs every 2 weeks or what? You know how those points, stuff adds up, man. Mm-hmm. So, and he was giving stuff giving people first class tickets anywhere. He couldn't use all the stuff.
Right.
So he was getting, I don't know, $100,000 worth of merchandise every year too on top of it. So quite a deal.
Not bad.
Yeah. I don't know how you'd be on the airplanes that much, but, yeah, but that's interesting. So let's start. Sorry,
that's all right.
Let's get back to the point. So my point is, you got out of the blue that's miraculous. Basically, that's some real serendipitous stuff right there, man. It really especially the end that you're sitting here now really makes it serendipitous. But I didn't know that. That's crazy. Yeah. That's really interesting to me. So you get the job. You're in sales there, and they start you off, and they train you, and they train you right.
Yep.
We can only guess, and I know, this is a simple answer. But had you not been afforded that initial opportunity of getting professional training, how negatively would that have affected your career, do you think? Would you still be in the business?
No, not at all. I'd have been gone less than a month. I'd have been gone.
Right.
Less than a month.
Right.
Because walking in, I had retail background. I could
sure. Well, you own a deli. You know how to talk to people.
If I could talk to you at 5 a.m. before you had your first cup of coffee, I could talk to anybody. And talk is cheap. It's when you got to ask somebody for the 20 grand. That's the hard part. Mm-hmm. And that was the part that I had an issue with. Going into it. So the training was critical for my development in this. I would have fallen flat on my face without it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And that's what happens still today, right?
Oh, yeah.
People wonder about turnover and why it's so darn high. And I tell you what, man, I think it's changing. I really think it is. I think we as an industry are finally just getting it a little bit. I think we're making inroads there, which is really important. Which those of you that know, I mean, Automax, the company that I own, excuse me, is. Dealers hire us to staff their dealerships. So you would think that we're all about turnover. Actually, that's just not true. We want to be able to take care of every dealer's needs when they need people or they're looking to grow, not keep going back month after month after month, replacing the revolving door thing.
Feeding the grinder.
Yeah, that's just not cool. So we're all about retaining who we recruit for you, but. So the point I think we're both trying to make is, man, just don't throw these people to the wolves, man. Train them.
No,
give them something.
I mean, you invested money at Automax to get them in the door in the first place.
That's right.
What's
the point?
Right.
If you're just going to use us to get bodies and then quote unquote, throw them to the wolves, you just set that money on fire. There's zero reason to retain us.
Just get on the unemployment office and grab people off the line.
Right, take them out of their chairs, put them in a bus, and bring them to the store.
Yeah.
Right. They pass a drug test or whatever. They didn't have to pass a drug test. Screw it. Just put them out there.
Right.
All right. So I've interrupted you 10 times now. Go on. So all right. So you sold there 5 years successfully.
Yeah. Yeah. Did pretty well.
Yeah.
And at one point, another February, as a matter of fact, they asked me if I'd be interested in stepping into a team leader position.
Right.
They explained the pay plan, and I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at the fact that it was February, and I wasn't having a great month.
There you
I'm
go.
Like, yeah, okay, you got me.
Yeah. Timing's everything.
I'll do that.
Right.
And before I slid into that role, they sent me and one of the other managers, a fellow by the name of Anthony Valent, nice guy, out to Philly for a 2-week Joe Verdi managers training seminar.
Train the trainer kind of thing.
Yeah. So we did that and came back, and I slid into the role of team leader kind of thing.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun. I had a good time.
Now, a team leader to me, like when I had the Ford store in Atlantic City, I had I had 2 shifts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
2? Yeah, I had 2 shifts, 4 team captains. They each had 5 or 6 salespeople under them, and they were responsible for their training every day, and then all their TOs and everything. Is that kind of what what you initially stepped into?
Yeah, there were 2 of us. We had 8 guys on a team.
Okay.
And that was my job, was training.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
That was my car.
Yeah.
I should have been a teacher or something. I don't know, because that's what I love to do.
I know.
Well,
there's very few things, in my opinion, and I think you'll agree with this, and I think if any Automax recruiter trainer was sitting across from me right now, I'm pretty sure that all of them would say the same thing. There's very few things in life, there are very few things in life that are as rewarding as seeing, let's just take a young kid, 18, 19, 20-year-old, sitting across from you in that initial interview with no eye contact, right? Yeah. None, right? Dressed like 18, 19, 20-year-olds dress.
Yeah.
Shy, whatever. To give them a shot, put them in class, the initial training, and then literally see a metamorphosis take place from a moth to from a larva to a butterfly in a couple days. It's so unbelievable. And then to go back, 6 months later, they're going through some expansion, and see this young person, hey, Rob, I just wanted to thank you. Just put a deposit that just bought our first home. There's how many?
That's the best. The long-term stories are the best. I did a campaign at a Honda store in Michigan, I don't know, 5 years ago, probably 5 years ago. And I'll never forget. I got this one guy. He was a massage therapist looking to break out. He got picked up at the Honda store. Inside of 2 months, he was salesman of the month. He's been Honda Gold Master level for years. I just saw on Facebook, he and his wife just bought a house on Lake Michigan.
Whoa.
Or was it? Yeah. and it's a gorgeous place. I mean, just unbelievable. And I got more stories like that.
I know,
and that's just
man.
the best feeling in the world. It absolutely is.
Yeah, I think, and there were times when I first started this where, when you're out there doing what we do,
Yeah.
it can get a little lonely. It can get a little weird.
Definitely weird.
Right? But those stories,
Yeah.
and if you do this long enough, there's a lot of them.
Yep.
They used to fuel me, man. It's like, just out of the blue, someone would call, text, email, send me a letter back in the old days. It's like, changed my life. I mean, and they use those words.
Yeah.
You changed my life.
Oh, yeah.
I was telling this, my son Joe Lockard, the director of operations, Automax, and one of my partners, and Troy Spring, who owns Dealer World and the 345 agency. One of our dealer clients, a dealer principal friend of ours, myself, we've been receiving coaching from this neuroscientist.
Right.
It's called brain hacking. It's a long story, but pretty interesting stuff. But what he talks about, and we do it on the internal Friday call that you're on and that we do, and
Right.
and Joe asks for everybody's wins for the week, And what this guy's into is identifying our self-limiting beliefs, the sometimes shit, crap, lies that we end up telling ourselves based on something that happened at some point in our lives that we've bought into that hold us back from being all that we can be. This is real loosely put.
Yep.
But it's really pretty interesting, and this guy is amazing. If you guys want any information on this, just drop it in the comments or something, and I'll get some information out to you. It's not cheap, but I'm going to tell you what, it is. This guy's unbelievable. It's real. It's not woo-woo stuff and, essential oils. It's not that there's anything wrong with those of you that are into essential oils, but they don't work. But this guy really does hack into your brain. So when we identified my self-limiting belief, and then we wrapped that into what is my purpose?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things in the grand scheme of things was to leave people better off than when I found them.
Right.
So I was to go back to Greenwald Chevrolet, the first place I was a manager. When I first started Automax, we were about 6 months in, and I stopped there and was talking to the dealer on the showroom floor. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this gigantic human being. I mean, 6'8", 350 at least, going, "Craig Lockard," and starts running towards me across the showroom floor. Now, I can remember clenching my fists. Like, this guy's going to kill me. I'm going to have to punch this guy.
It's going down.
Right? This guy grabs me, and I'm 6'1". At the time, I was probably 6'2.5". I've shrunk a little. And I was heavier then. I was probably 200 pounds then. Picks me up like a rag doll and hugs me. And he says, "You don't remember who I am?" And I'm like, my voice is shaking. "No, I don't. Is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing?" He said, "No, it's a good thing, man." He said, "You trained me at a place called Harbor Lincoln Mercury, like, I don't know, 12 years, 13 years before that." And he said, "My wife told me that if I ever, by some miracle, ran into you, that I was to hug you because you changed our family's life."
There you go.
And just out of the blue, he happened to be there. I happened to be there. You know, they bought a home, children in private school, the whole 9 yards, man. And it was like, it was so emotional. It's just like, you know, I hugged him back then.
Right.
But that feeling, isn't it?
It's awesome.
It's amazing.
It's absolutely awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty wonderful. Okay, so again, this good thing I asked you if you had a couple hours here. So, all right. So you got the management position.
Yep.
And how long would go forward with that?
Let's see. So I bounced around. I was, team leader. Then they restructured a little bit, and I was just a sales manager, a floor manager. Played with that. I was the wingman at the desk. They threw me into finance once.
Yeah,
just once. I was probably in F&I for about, I don't know, maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
I was the cash king. The cash deals.
Yeah.
Give it to Rob. He's got no averages anyway.
Yeah, that sucks. Finance is important, though. It's an important part of management development, I think.
Yeah. Well,
it's a pain. I didn't like it.
Well, realistically, in order to run a desk properly, you need to know.
Got to.
You
got to have that experience.
But man, I couldn't stand sitting in that office. It used to make me crazy. You know, even when I was running a desk, I never sat behind the desk.
Right.
I was always on the floor.
Right. If you're selling 10 cars a day,
Yeah.
you're going to take a leak.
Mm-hmm.
Eat at your desk.
Yeah.
And that is your life 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because it's one customer at another doing the same thing, the same pitch, the same paperwork.
Yeah. Hated it.
Yeah, talking to the banks. That's a brutal job.
Yeah. But
the ones that are really good at it get paid a boatload of dough too. But
yeah, some people really, really thrive on it.
I know, it's weird.
Some people love the box.
I know.
You know,
That's true.
And God bless them. That's what makes horse racing, right?
Yeah, man.
it's perfect. So I did that. BDC manager. I went in. I ran the BDC for a while. Eventually became the GSM.
Right.
And pretty much ran the sales floor. Did all the training. That was my bread and butter, if you will. That's what I really enjoyed.
Right. And then at that point, then when you needed salespeople, what did you do?
Oh, dude, I called, at the time I was calling Joe. I talked to Ernie once in a while, but it was mostly Joe.
Right.
And for the first little bit, I'd call, we'd arrange a campaign. You know, they'd send a trainer, and then, and by then we were in a much bigger dealership, so we had a conference room that we used on site. So it was good that way. And the trainers would come and they do their thing, and we'd make our selections and move on from there. And I typically would run at least a 2-week training program myself with these guys.
And you'd train them.
Yeah, the owner saw the value.
Yeah.
And actually pulled me out of the rotation for 2 weeks. No one paged Rob. Rob didn't answer phone calls. Rob worked from 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, Monday to Friday, and that was it.
Right.
You never saw Rob. You lost Rob for 2 weeks.
Right. You guys figure it out.
Yeah. And
because this is priority one.
Well, I mean, let's face it, they're your front line. With that, you don't have somebody selling your cars. You don't have a business. So I mean, we know that.
Right. So just to catch everybody up that's listening, so he's driving along, going to a job interview, looks at a newspaper. Newspaper's open to the help wanted classified ads. Our ad, the ad that Automax writes and provides for car dealers, when a car dealer retains Automax to get them salespeople, or now any position, happens to be on the road, happens to be across the street from the dealership, goes in, interviews with a trainer that's still with Automax, gets hired, excels in sales, starts into management, is a team captain, works his way through the ranks to GSM. Then when he needs salespeople, he calls Automax. So we're almost full circle. So answers an ad, gets hired, excels, then keeps the thing going by calling Automax, so we come up there and do it. Now, at the time, and this is a big change that happened over the years, this thing, I didn't invent this whole thing. This process, what we did was clean it up, but because it was a little murky back 30-some years ago. But what we did was, back in the day, was the potential new hires paid what we called a tuition to the trainer that was then reimbursed by the dealer at the end of typically 90 days of employment. Sometimes it was less, sometimes it was more, but whatever worked out. And then shortly after that, then we guaranteed the people either a job or their money back. And we went along our merry way with that for quite a few years, probably the first 10, 12 years we were in business, until competitors started, what a world, competitors of ours, which are no longer around, but it would pretend to be disgruntled potential salespeople and go online and bash us. So come here, Dix. Hey, Dixie do. Everybody, Dixie's with us today. Where have you been, Dix? That troubles me a little bit, somewhere in the studio. So that got a little tricky because it was just, it got too difficult, too messy. In theory, it's a great idea. Have the
It's
new
the
sales
skin in the game
skin
thing.
in the game.
Yeah.
So you at least have them for however many days before they get their money back.
Right.
So it really ends up costing the new hire nothing. But whatever reason, we completely flipped it years ago, and now the dealer, of course, makes the full financial commitment to it, and the salespeople pay nothing, which scared the hell out of us at the time, but has worked out quite well, actually.
It's a whole lot cleaner transaction. It really truly is.
Yeah, it is.
I will tell you that I gave Jer my tuition in cash. I didn't tell my wife. Sorry, honey. I know she's listening. But 90 days later, I got a bonus check from the dealership because I was so good.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I hear you. I got you.
So
I got you.
I know.
That's good. I love
It
that.
was all right. But we
right,
had a good time.
Yeah, and so then I can remember. Well, I can't remember exactly, so I shouldn't say I remember but there was somehow it got to me that, hey, there's a guy. So Rob Winters, who Jer got into the business, has some interest. Jer might have reached it because I think. Did you reach out to Jer then about the potential of coming on as a trainer, or how'd that go down? Do you recall? Was it through Jer? Did we get?
I think I called you.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I did. But that wasn't until later. There's more to this story.
Let's go. Carry on.
So at first with the recruiting, I was using your full package, but then the owner and I sat down and he said, "Well, listen, these guys can do that. We're paying them. Why can't you do that?"
Right.
And so the next couple of campaigns that we did with you guys, I called Joe and said, "Listen, I just want the advertising package. I'm going to do the interviews and the training myself." So he was maybe not too happy about that, but that's what we did, and it worked out real well.
And now today, that's actually a structure that we use.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I did that. At one point, back in 2011, they sent me to NADA, and I did the full year.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, GDMO 86. I was
that's awesome.
NADA graduate in 2011. That was an awesome year. That was phenomenal. That was also the year of the earthquake, if you recall, 2011.
That's right.
I was in a building. I was in the NADA building in McLean, Virginia.
Yeah,
up on
I've been there.
The 5th or 6th floor, whatever it was. And I think it was the parts class with Bob Atwood. Or not parts, service with Bob Atwood. And all of a sudden, books started falling off the shelves.
Wow.
And obviously, we evacuated the building rather quickly. It was an interesting week.
Huh.
So I came back and I was installed pretty much as the GM.
Right.
you know, and had a really good time with this. So it was a lot of fun. At that point, the owners decided to stretch out a little bit, and they bought a failing Chevy Point. It was in a tough spot, and it had a horrible reputation.
Yeah.
And we went in with the vision of revitalizing.
Right.
And
That's a tough area to sell cars at, man.
yeah, no, I
That
know.
whole
Yeah, it
Route
was-
23 is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Or was.
Oh, this is even worse. This is up near Hackettstown.
Oh, okay.
And it was like out in the middle of no place. It
Yeah.
was, cows. So I went up there and I recruited, trained, pretty much restaffed the whole place. Was there for, I don't know, 8-9 months, and I just couldn't get anything going.
Yeah. Yeah.
By then they had replaced me at Honda, so here I am at this Chevy Point, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
Oops.
And that was the end of that.
Yeah.
So I called up a fellow by the name of Ro Hubbard. You probably
I
know Ro.
Yeah. How do I know him? What?
He's
Super Sales?
he does
or-
super sales.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, members only is his
Yeah.
is his thing.
Yeah.
He was Stuker's co-star in Car Lot Rescue. That's how I met.
Okay,
That's how I
yeah.
met him.
Yeah.
And I called him, and I went out and I went on the road. I did super sales for a while, and had a great time traveling. It's just wasn't my. Well, it left
Those
a
are
bad taste in a lot of mouths. It
brutal,
was,
man.
yeah, it was rough, but it was fun. It was definitely fun.
Yeah.
Did a couple of things, and then one day, I'm sitting home, and we're trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do with the rest of my life. To this day, I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up.
Yeah, me neither.
But I called you, and I to paraphrase, because I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was something along the lines of, "Dude, I've been waiting for the call." And then so we hooked up shortly after that down near Atlantic City, and the rest is history.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Where did we train?
At the hotel at the Stockton Seaview.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was me, Scott Ide,
Yeah.
and I don't remember the other gentleman. Anthony something. I forget his last name.
Yeah. I can see him.
Yeah.
I remember those pictures came up on my timeline here a while back.
Yeah, it was a week or two ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What the hell was that other guy's name?
It was Anthony. He did corporate training or something
Yeah,
for
yeah.
one of the manufacturers. I don't
Yeah.
remember his thing.
Yeah. That's right.
And then Scott's family owned a Pontiac dealership in Rochester, New York.
Right.
Because I went to school at RIT, and we used to hang out and test drive Firebirds over there every now and then.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I was that guy.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that is full circle. So,
And here I am.
newspaper ad on the front seat of a car, get hired, then use Automax, then go totally full circle, and then become a recruiter trainer from Automax.
Yeah.
And hopefully more in the future. The one constant at Automax we always say is change, and it's like we're going to be changing some things here coming up shortly, and some announcements. I might even talk about it today a little bit. Nah, I'll keep it a secret.
You're such a tease.
Yeah, I'll keep it a secret. I'll keep that a secret. So, all right. So that's the to date the Rob Winter story. Now, and we on social, and you started this, and I love it. And the roving recruiter, in that. What is that? 33-foot long.
It's a 30-foot Class C RV.
Right.
Yeah.
So Rob and his wife,
And our 2 dogs.
yeah, yeah, that's right, and the pups. When possible, travel to stores and spend a week there rather than a hotel. I mean, that's just I don't know. Maybe I'm romanticizing it more than it is because there's probably pluses and minuses. But man, that sure sounds like a great way to do this thing.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It absolutely is. When I'm at a campaign, if it's at a hotel, I'll leave the dealership at 6:30, whatever. get something to eat, go back to the hotel, and I'm there at 8 or 9 o'clock.
Right.
And what do I got? I'm watching TV. It's duller than dirt.
Yeah, right. That's brain damage.
It really
Jeopardy.
is. So now next week I have a campaign down at Tom's River, and courtesy of Ernie Kasprowitz, we've got a nice campground down there that we go to. It's the Butterfly camping area.
Oh yeah.
And Ernie turned me on to it.
Ernie goes there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice place.
Ernie loves that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Ernie and I. We talked. We're gonna do a trip together.
Oh, that'd be
we'll
cool.
have to figure it out, but yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, and so it's nice. I go to the dealership. I do my thing. I leave there, 6:30. I'm back at the campsite at 7. Start a fire. Throw some burgers on the grill.
Dude.
Sit down in a lounge chair. I got my wife. Got the dogs. We go for a walk. Place got a pool. We go hang out at the pool.
Jeez,
it's just
man.
I'm on a vacation.
Right.
It really is.
Right, a paid vacation.
It's a paid working vacation, and man, oh man.
That's pretty cool.
And the saying, if you really love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life.
Right, that ain't work.
I'm not working.
Right, that's not work. Right. It turns you on training people,
Yeah.
Positively affecting people's lives. You get to camp out,
Yeah.
be with your wife, be with your dogs. Yeah, that ain't a horrible way to live.
No, it doesn't suck.
Oh, hey, Adam.
Yes, Greg.
Did you ever find that? It just hit me. I gave you a task an hour ago. Did you ever find that information about Thompson and about?
He was the first.
He was the
there
first.
have been others who have won.
Okay, all right. He was the first. Okay, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. George, yeah, we're just, for those of you just joining us, we're talking about the passing of George Thompson Jr. Here, I guess yesterday. He was 78 years old. He's kind of a legend in college basketball as a head coach at Georgetown, and where Iverson went to school, and Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, and others. Big loss. Too bad. Really a tough loss for the world. He was a pretty awesome guy. Pretty cool. Thanks, Adam. Forgot all about it and looked down at my notes and was like, oh, shoot. So full circle back to Automax, man. That's
Yep.
I really appreciate it. Can you imagine how that makes me feel? It's like you guys get a thrill from seeing, salespeople that that you interview and initially train, make it, and so forth. When you see a person that starts out in one of these classes and then ends up coming back, and because we've had a few over the years that have done that, and a couple of guys retired from Automax doing that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
From our standpoint, it's really pretty neat. So, all right. So,
Good stuff.
What else you got? We pretty much beat that horse to death, huh? Or no?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun, man. That's such a great story. I love that.
Yeah, right.
It's just so awesome.
It's the newspaper on the front seat though. That was
crazy. Yeah,
it really was.
That I didn't know. That is serendipitous.
Yeah.
All right. Winters Honda.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that. So again, those of you. Oh, and hey, I don't know. I probably should have done this earlier in the show, but those of you that are watching, listening, so forth, whether it be on YouTube, at our YouTube channel, Automax Recruiting, or our Facebook page, Automax Recruiting, please share this out. Smash that share button. Get people, groups, whatever, whoever you think might benefit from some of this. They can watch it on the replay or what have you. It would be appreciated. Really appreciate you guys watching. This thing is weird. This show is weird. The last one I did was a couple of weeks ago, and it was just me. And I was trying to think, I can't remember which one it was, if it was the Dead at Midnight show or the Judge a Book by its cover. But at any rate, that thing ended up with over 9,000. I think it's around 9,500 views right now. But it mostly takes place on the replay. But that on Facebook, that's a whole lot of people for a live streaming show on Facebook. YouTube, not so much. Still haven't figured that damn thing out, but we're working on it. But we appreciate each and every one of you, whether it's a couple thousand people that end up watching this thing or 10,000, which we've had. It's just we really appreciate your time, and you guys being loyal listeners is really, really appreciative of that. So if you could share this thing out, if you see the value, that'd be cool. And just a real quick commercial message. When I hate even mentioning these words, but when the pandemic hit, obviously pretty much in the automobile world basically stopped for a while. And of course I stopped the show. Pennsylvania was closed down. We actually almost got closed down. The one show that we did with the CEO from PermaSafe was the last time that Pennsylvania, actually I think, Adam, didn't they close? Do you remember that? I think it was announced that that was on a Friday we did that show. And I think Friday was the day it was supposed to close everything down. And then Saturday it was legit closed down, the state of Pennsylvania. Am I remembering that correctly?
It was... It might have been Saturday. I know by the next week, we had, our office was closed.
Right.
Next Monday. So I think it did happen over the weekend.
Yeah.
And if you remember, our power was shut off.
I know. Crazy, man.
While we're doing the podcast, whether, what that had to do with, it's never happened before or after. So.
Dude, that is beyond conspiracy. We're 27 minutes in with the CEO of PermaSafe going into deep science about this. And I mean, it was important. And they meaning whoever in government, had said that they were going to close, Pennsylvania's closed down whenever. And I mean, 27 minutes in, Adam goes, guys, we're off the air. The power, the power went down.
Yeah.
And these guys, I mean, all systems go AV. I mean, these guys are amazing. They're running around here like maniacs and somehow got enough power up to where we could come back, because I did the show remotely because, there's no putting him on an airplane at the time. The airlines were shut down. It was it was bad. And then we finished up the show, but that was that was pretty crazy. But at any rate, we had advertisers back then. I haven't brought on any advertisers other than Automax. So Automax, my company, and MaxSafe, which I'm a part owner in. My son's the principal owner of that. It takes care of all the bills here because millionaire producer Adam is not cheap. But All Systems Go is an awesome place. You guys want to do a podcast? Anyone listening? If you're in the Philadelphia area or around, this is the place to be. They do a lot of stuff. Great production company, video production, what have you. They're excellent people. Their work is spectacular, and they just do a really swell job. So we would recommend them highly. But this show is brought to you in part, as they say, by Automax Recruiting, the nation's #1 recruiter of every position in your dealership, #hire. And you're going to be seeing a little bit different look in marketing, both digital and otherwise, here coming up pretty soon. That's how I'm going to leave it for now. But you're going to see some real changes coming up, visual changes and so forth, our social and how we do things. We got some really cool, very hip stuff coming up. But to get everyone to realize that we do more than just, not that it's very important, the green pea new hire classes that you see plastered all over Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and wherever else we are. We hire for every position in the dealership. I can tell you right now, we have, this number is going to be right within a handful. Right now, 67 automotive technician recruiting campaigns currently active right now. 67 dealerships in the country looking for that we're handling for automotive technicians. I think it's safe to say that we're probably the largest in the country that does that. So it literally doesn't matter. BDC, management positions, I've said it for years, from porters to presidents. I mean, it's like literally everything in between. And our newest company, Max Safe Consulting, I would urge you guys to Google it, go online, check it out, maxsafeconsulting.com, and check that out and what we do. And if you're a dealer principal, GM, in fixed ops or variable, either one, we can help you with a number of different programs and processes and services. And we'd appreciate you taking a look at that as well. And that pays the bills here, and we'd love to have you as a customer. So enough of that. So, all right, so let's get back to Winters Honda. So we're going to clean slate, empty building. There's you probably hired a controller, a GM or a GSM, and
not without talking to you first, though.
Right. There you go. That was that's straight from his mouth. That was not pre-set up.
Straight up.
So what's this place going to look like?
Man.
Your perfect dealership, Rob. What are you going to do?
Well, I've been around the country a lot and been in and out of a lot of different dealerships. And one of the things that strikes me is that's the way we've always done it kind of mentality. Makes me
That's the way we've always done it.
And it causes me to lose my mind. So realistically, the first thing that I do is, and again, it's a shameless plug, but I'm going to you, because you gotta find, recruit, retain, and continuously upgrade top talent. That's in all the positions. You got to do that. So that's the beginning. The other thing that I do is I take a look at some of the really, really successful guys, because imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Best practices, man.
I'm thinking Paragon Honda. Man, if I could mirror that in any way, shape, or form, I'm all over it. I was checking out his service department. I was looking at hours and things like that. And this guy runs almost 24 hours in service, which is phenomenal.
It's hard to find fault with anything that Brian Benstock does.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't want to. You can check what we're doing, but we're now. Actually, we're still looking for some. We're looking for, if you're an F&I manager out there and you're the best. I'm not talking about good. I'm not talking about way above average. I'm talking about King Kong.
Right.
In F&I. Send your resume to talent@automaxrecruiting.com. Talent@automaxrecruiting.com. And we're also, so we're looking for the other one I can't disclose, but we're looking for a couple positions there. But if you're an F&I and you're the legit real deal, and you want to work at one of, if not the most progressive store in the country, Paragon's it, and we'll get you hooked up. So
I just sent a buddy of mine's resume over to.
I saw that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, the guy's got chops.
Yeah.
So, my service department is right. They say service is it's not the back end; it's the backbone of a dealership.
I like that.
So my service department is going to be fully staffed, top notch personnel, with all the benefits. The money's going to be right. You can't cheap out on this stuff. I mean, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. I'm looking for legit people. And again, constantly recruiting, constantly training, make sure that they've got all the factory stuff down. So service and parts, the whole back end is that way. My focus is variable. That's because that's where I grew up. So a great sales staff, always, constantly training. My management team is going to have to be the top notch. I will not tolerate a manager who on Saturday morning at 9:00 sends the new guy for breakfast. I have almost lost my mind on more than one occasion. Eat breakfast before you come to work, you idiot. But anyway, so
I couldn't I couldn't agree with you more.
It makes me crazy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just there's so many common sense things that are not common.
Yeah.
It's really aggravating.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing, and I think, here we're in a made up scenario here, but why can't we just? And we're talking to managers, people or dealers right now that are listening to this or will listen to this at some point.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a brand new dealership. All it's got to be is a brand new mindset.
Yeah.
So the things that we're going to be talking about, the perfect world, the unicorn of car dealerships, if you will, it's not impossible. Why are we doing it this way? Because we've always done it that way. You have a problem with it. I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
We've done it at Automax.
Yeah.
We challenge each other to get away from that because it is, as a business owner, that's pretty easy to trap to fall into. It really is. It's like, hey, you know what? Things are going along okay. Just, but
if you're not busy being born, you're busy dying. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like
that's that.
Yeah.
I forget who wrote that. Abby Hoffman, maybe. I'm not sure. It really was.
You're old, man.
Yeah, I know I am.
Not too many people are going to understand the context of Abby Hoffman, but that's cool.
I stole the book.
Yeah. Steal this book.
There you go. So,
you know what? I think I did too. I think I did. For those of you who have no idea of the context of this, he wrote a book called Steal This Book. Yeah, that was the exact title. Right. And I think most people probably did.
Or at least we gave it a shot.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I'd want to be doing, first of all, I want to take a serious look at the pay plan for sales because the pay plans that I'm seeing now are horrendous by a large margin.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Based on best practices and what you've seen around the country, and it's one of the cool things about Automax of your brothers and sisters out in the field doing recruiting training. We literally get to see West Coast, East Coast, North, South, every OEM, dealerships that sell 60 cars a month and 2,000 cars a month and everything in between. What are you seeing about pay plans, or what would you suggest? Well, based on what you've seen and what your gut feel.
The last store I was in, or actually the one prior, the owner, I sat with the owner, and he laid out two pay plans. He's got a beginner's pay plan and the professional's pay plan. Okay. Now, the professional's pay plan is the old school pay plan. I mean, it's commission, right? You sell it, you hold gross, you get paid on the gross, you get paid, volume bonuses and all of that stuff, but it's heavily gross oriented.
Right.
But that's the professional pay plan.
Right.
You start out with the beginner's pay plan, and the beginner's pay plan is nice because the beginner's pay plan has a guaranteed salary.
Right.
It's not a draw. You're not going to end up in the bucket. You're not going to end up after a month owing the dealership $5,000 that you'll never get out of.
Right.
Right. It's like $500 a week or $600, whatever the number is.
Right.
And then they pay you
as a guarantee.
It's done.
Yeah.
Right. Whether you sell something or not.
Right.
Now,
salary plus.
Obvious. Exactly. So there's a commission on a fixed dollar commission. A mini actually on anything that you sell.
Right.
And then they get paid a little bit on back end.
Right.
Plus bonuses from the manufacturer. So you can make yourself, you sell 15, 16, 20 cars a month maybe.
Right.
You're $80,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah. That ain't horrible.
No, I mean, let's face it, most of the people that sit in front of me, $80,000 is like hitting the lottery.
Right. Yeah, you're not I mean, it's, we have college graduates sitting, going through interviews. We have, former military. We have, people changing jobs, especially in what's happened in over the last 3 or 4 months in the country. But yeah, I mean, 80 G's ain't too bad with high school diploma or whatever.
Well, listen, if you get out of college now with a liberal arts degree,
right.
You're starting at 40 and you owe 150 in student loans.
Yeah,
that's just
that's pretty accurate.
Getting out of it.
Right.
You know?
You're done.
Yeah, you're already in a hole.
Yeah.
So something like that
Right.
to take some of the scare out of it, because I've had guys sitting in my class, and that night I've had their wives call me.
Yeah. Yep.
How's this actually work? How are we going to make sure that our mortgage gets paid, and how are we going to make sure that our kids have, food on the table, and this, that, and the other thing?
Legit questions.
And it's a hard question to answer if you got a stone cold rookie who's never sold anything in his life before,
Right.
standing out in front of a customer trying to sell something.
Right.
And that's hard.
Right. It's a huge leap of faith for the people, a lot of the people that we interview, because they don't really get that in the long run. Commission, especially now, from what I hear, we talked about it on our national call the other day, our Zoom. Grosses, I guess, around the nation are.
Oh, they're
huge.
going. They're nice.
Yeah.
There's money again.
Yeah.
In this
right.
business.
Yeah. Yeah.
As there should be. I mean,
I see salesmen talking about making 10, 15, 20 grand a month.
Absolutely.
And I never made 20 grand in a month selling cars, although I sold. There's still cranks in the front of the grill of the car to get them started. But So it's hard to take a person that has never even really considered this, and because you don't want to oversell, you don't want to put them in a position where you're hurting them.
Yeah.
But the potential, and people sometimes hate that word, is ridiculous. I mean, it really is potentially ridiculous. And not even to mention, perhaps a step up into management. Sometimes it's a sidestep. There's a lot of salespeople making more money than managers. So.
I'd be willing to bet that Ali Rita makes more money than anybody in his store.
Oh yeah, no, quite. Yeah, maybe more than the owner. I don't know, but
could very well be.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You can't sell 1,800 cars or whatever it is, and I mean, just do the math, man.
Exactly.
At 400 a car, what is that? For 700 grand?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it is the money. The money's there for the right people.
Yeah.
But you got to have the right pay plan to attract the right people,
right.
and to make sure that you can hang on to the right people.
Right.
When I started, I came out of a deli situation. You want to buy a gallon of milk for me? You put it on the counter. It was $2.79, cash and carry. And if you wanted to negotiate the price, get the hell out of my store. Next.
Right. Yeah.
Right. This was totally out of my comfort zone. It was way out. I sucked. My first month, I might have sold 3 cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. My second month, I was probably down to 2. Quite frankly, if I was my manager back then, I don't think I would have kept me.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Not all stories are. I sold 20 cars. It does happen, but
I got a couple of those guys.
Right.
But and when I do my classes, my seminars, I tell these people exactly that.
Right.
Listen, some of you guys are going to be rock stars right out the gate.
Yep.
And then some of you guys are going to be looking at a paycheck 2 weeks from now and saying, what the hell did I do?
Yep.
Fact. But you got to give yourself, 90 days isn't enough.
No, probably not.
6 months.
Yeah.
6 months.
I agree.
If you don't have it in 6 months, you don't have it.
Right.
But in 6 months, you've given yourself at least half a shot.
Yeah. 90 days goes fast, man.
Yeah. By the end of 90 days, you're just figuring out where they park the cars. Forget about trying to sell them.
Right.
Right. So the first thing I would address is a pay plan.
Right.
And the second thing that I would address are the hours. Because 9 to 9, Monday to Saturday,
let's talk about that.
Is just absolutely stupid.
Right.
It's absolutely stupid.
Right.
Especially now. I hate to say this generation, because it was my generation too.
And mine.
Everybody's generation.
You.
I mean, let's face it. You get married. You do this. You want to have some kind of a social life. You know, if I got into the car business when my kids were little, I'd have been out. Listen, I own my own. We own our own business for 15 years. I never missed a recital. I never missed a concert. I never missed a play.
Right.
I made
and
all
there's still a boatload of hours in that business that you were in.
Oh yeah, but I had the flexibility.
Right.
Dealers typically don't give you the flexibility.
No, typically.
Typically.
They didn't. Would you agree it's changing some?
A little bit, yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I have a few clients that are,
Yeah.
they're real people.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a second generation
Right.
car dealer
I was
owner
gonna
or
say
something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But there's still,
Yeah.
but there's still room for
Yeah,
more.
man. I mean, there were other factors in my personal situation, but it basically, back we're talking. I started selling in the early '70s, and through the mid '70s, I sold cars for 6 years, and it was legit bell to bell.
Yeah.
I mean, you were there. Period.
Yeah.
I'm sick. Okay, you can be sick at work as well as sick at home. Come on in.
Oh man, I got stories like that.
And it's like, I have 4 children, and it's like, and it affected them.
Sure.
I mean, it's like, where's Dad?
Yep.
Everybody else's dad's here. He's working.
Yeah.
He's working. Hopefully, and over the years, they okay, well, my dad worked hard and, did it for us and this and that. But, it's time, man. That's brutal. It's tough to keep a marriage together and you don't get to see your kids. See them in the morning before I go to work and,
Right.
they're asleep by the time you get home.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Weekends.
Yeah. I look at it. I look at it this way. Do you remember when banks were open Monday
Yeah.
to Friday, 9 to 3?
Yeah. Yep.
And that was it.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
needed to get to the bank,
Yeah.
you'd figure out a way.
Right. Exactly. Right.
This whole being open till 9, 10 o'clock at night is just insane to me. Absolutely insane.
That's right.
There's the Michigan stores.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Right.
Monday to Friday, 9 to 6.
Right. Well,
maybe they're open till,
union, aren't they? Well, Detroit's union.
might be. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe open till 8 on Thursdays for convenience.
Yeah.
And then no Sundays.
Right.
But the best was Saturdays, 10 to 2. Okay.
Right.
So definitely the hours and
Yeah.
and split shifts, 9 to 9s. I think are counterproductive.
Right. Well, yeah, because let's say you got a closing at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that customer comes in at 8:45 or whatever.
Yeah.
Where is the salesperson's head really at?
Oh yeah, nowhere near.
I mean,
Yeah.
this customer better be a lay down,
Yeah.
right? Or I don't know. There's just no way your head's in the game, man. And management, where are they at? Because some F&I's got to stay.
Yeah.
Desk guy's got to stay.
Oh yeah.
They ain't happy.
And they're rolling their eyes.
Right.
Winners, you better have something here.
Right.
I can
Right.
remember one Friday night. It was we closed at 6 o'clock, and it was in the wintertime. And like 5:45, some guy rolled in, and I'm one of the rookies. I go out and grab him because that's what you do. And we were in 2 teams back then, and if your team was the late team, you stayed until everybody was done.
Right.
And it was me and 6 other guys in the showroom. I'm sitting at a desk with a customer, and I'm looking over the customer's shoulder, and there's 5 guys and a manager.
Right.
Like this.
Yeah, like flipping you off. Let's go,
my
dude.
God. It's
Right.
absolutely horrible.
Right. There ain't gonna be no gross on that deal.
No.
Right. If a deal's even made, it's gonna.
Yeah.
I mean,
But anyway, so
but I guess that example. I guess that example would happen regardless of the time.
regardless
you
of the
close.
hours. Yeah.
But the point is, you've been there 11 and a half hours.
Yeah, if I was there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and here I am rolling up on 9, it's going to be 9:30, 10:30 by the
Right.
time I'm done.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Right. Now, and you're going to have guys. Now, I don't think there's any debate that No, that's not true because you brought up Ali Rita. Although he's unique in that he's always selling out in the public, but he's not at the dealership selling.
Right.
So, however, if you're
Well, no.
one of the difference between a $40,000 a year automobile salesperson and $100,000 you're going to have to put in the hours.
Oh, definitely.
Or have some.
Yeah, but if you can structure your hours, because it goes back
Right.
to appointment only, and if you can train your clientele, and not customers, I'm talking about clientele.
Yeah.
There's a fella. I got into a Cadillac store a couple of years ago. He's the top grosser. Never sold cars before. Top grosser in the store, and this is in New York, where they're open on Sundays.
Right.
This guy hasn't worked a Sunday, I don't know when, and not many Saturdays either. And he's never in the store unless he's got a customer. And the customers don't show up if he's not there because they know that the only way to get service is to make an appointment.
Yeah, he trained his
clientele.
Yeah.
Can everybody do that? Yeah. No. I wish that they could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More people could do it than you'd think if they were given the opportunity to do it.
And if they believe they could.
Yeah.
Because most people don't believe they can.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
Did you ever think you could sell 100 cars a month?
Yeah.
I had trouble selling 30. 100, where's that come from?
Right?
I mean, Frank Criniti did 150 a month or two ago.
Insane.
Can it be done? Absolutely.
Yep.
So, but hours are definitely something.
Right.
One of the things that we implemented.
Right. You could work, 55 hours a week, but just if I have something important with my family, I have to be. I need the opportunity to be able to go do that. I'm going to be happier I am at ABC at Winners Honda.
Sure.
That's just naturally going to spill over to the next customer that walks in the building,
Of course.
right?
Absolutely.
If I'm pissed off at management or Winter Honda,
Yeah.
that's also going to show up negatively to the customer, right?
Yeah.
So
I think it was a Richard Branson quote, and I don't remember exactly what it was. But,
right.
Treat your employees better than your customers.
Right. Didn't we put that in our? Wasn't that in our Facebook group or Automax Facebook group? I said something, and then I think you posted that.
Yeah. And that's the truth. I get it. You got to work the hours, but don't make me beg to go to my daughter's dance recital.
Right. Yeah. The begging stuff.
That's nonsense.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah. All right. So hours.
So the hours change.
Right.
Constant training, and you know what? I'm a big fan of sending people off site. To get away from the telephones and the interruptions. You got to be kind of focused.
Yes.
And we used to do that. There was a building down the street, and we used to rent the top section of it, and used to take salespeople over there like twice a week just to do off-site training.
Right.
And it was pretty effective.
Yep.
It was kind of nice.
Yep.
And of course they all complained because you're pulling me off the floor and I can't sell a car.
Right.
But what does Verdi say? It's better to miss a deal because of training than to miss 10 deals because of a lack of training, right? So that's
fact.
That's what it is. So lots of training, flexible hours. One thing that we instituted, and it's another Verdi thing, was a flex schedule for anybody who could maintain a particular level.
Right. It was a rolling average, right?
Yes. Yeah,
up to a point where paid assistant.
Yeah.
And there were several.
Yeah, there were a couple of things, but
perks
primarily
at every level, right?
Yeah. But primarily it was the flexible schedule.
Right.
The only time, if you're selling, I think we set it at 25 cars. If you're selling 25 cars or better,
right.
The only time you phically have to be in the dealership is for the Saturday morning meeting.
Okay.
Other than that, you can just mail it in.
Right.
And the two or three guys on the showroom floor that were able to do that.
Right.
It was they came in at 10, they were gone at 6.
Right. As long as you're doing those numbers I think that was wasn't it a 90-day?
It was a 90-day rolling average.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing it so what?
Exactly. Oh, no, exactly.
Have at it, man.
Exactly.
It's like sometimes I guess when you get in the worst, and it happened to me, because it would be real hard, I think, because you went from salesman to manager in the same building, right?
Yeah.
That's tough. One day I want to use, and now the next day I'm like, hey, now you guys got to listen to me.
Right.
I don't know what that's like. That's got to be tough.
It wasn't bad. We had a real good. We were a tight knit group. We were a very tight knit group.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes it easier.
I mean, I'm still friends with all of these guys.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, for me, I went to a different dealership from salesperson to management.
Right.
But dude, you gave me that title, and I completely forgot what it was like to be a salesman the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, the next day. And I don't think I'm dissimilar. And, I figured it out after a time that, you got to have empathy to the salespeople because, hey, dummy, you were one.
Yeah.
You got to remember that stuff. But that happens far too often, man, where it's like one day you're a salesperson, next day you're a manager, and it's like, okay, you guys were my buddies. Now you're a bunch of, low-producing knuckleheads. It's like, that's not good.
Yeah. It was kind of hard. It was kind of hard.
Yeah.
The saving grace was I was a team leader before much of anything else. So
Yeah.
I wasn't hiring and firing people.
Yeah.
I didn't really have that kind of clout.
That would make it easier.
I was there to help.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
I can see that.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
Big focus on a BDC. Huge focus on a BDC.
Got to.
And I keep flip flopping with the appointment setters versus the cradle to graves.
Me too, man.
And I really think, see, back in the old days when we didn't have a BDC, the salespeople did the business development.
Right.
Right. They did the follow-up calls. They answered the phones.
Right.
They did the leads.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't called cradle to grave, but that's what it was.
But that's what it was.
You take a sales call, and
off you go. I mean, I can remember sitting in the showroom, and all the phones rang at once, and the first guy to grab it won.
Got it.
There was a fella.
You slam the receiver, and pick it up.
Yep.
One move.
Well, there was a fella by the name of Doug McMillan. He passed away not long ago. This guy was selling 25 cars a month without ever leaving his seat. Dougie had his own reclining chair in the showroom, and the phones were his. There was something he could hear the electrons buzzing before it started to ring because it was boom.
He'd probably give the receptionist $20 a month.
That too, yeah, probably. But now salespeople typically don't have access to even the inbound phone calls. Those were golden.
Right.
Those were golden.
You bet.
So my BDC department, I'm leaning more towards cradle to grave. I think.
Yeah. Well, it's a
little different now.
With the pandemic and so-called touchless delivery, I think it's forced dealers into a pretty interesting situation where, I mean, I think it's pretty cool, frankly, that unfortunately, well, I think it's pretty cool, frankly, that a customer can submit a lead. That person can take that lead, contact the customer, work the deal over the phone via text or email, get them approved, paperwork signed same way, deliver the car to their house or business, and never literally touch the customer or come within 20 feet of them. And so that takes away it takes all day to buy a car, and they have to go all the back and forth, and it eliminates every single thing that pisses people off about buying a vehicle.
Yeah,
it really does. And it seems like grosses are okay. If somebody wants to come in, the only reason they're coming in is to test drive the car. The only thing, Rob, that I don't get, or that that I know that when I sold cars, it was up to me then. You know, we didn't have CRMs back then.
Right.
But if it was like, so if I had X amount of ups during a month, there were whatever, 30, they ain't getting followed up. There.
Oh, no.
It was up to me. Now, I bullshit management. You've been following this guy up? Yeah. What'd he say? Oh, he's still looking. I don't know. I haven't talked to the guy in 3 weeks. I have no clue.
Well, mainly because he's not picking up the phone. But that's that's a whole nother story.
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, statistically, 90% of them, if they leave the dealership without buying, they're never touched again.
Yeah, that's right. It's exactly right. So that forward flow of following up on those either a email inquiry or however that lead comes into the store, that would be troublesome.
Yeah.
Because that's a volume basis. So what could a salesperson like realistically handle in a month and keep following that up and keep it's a little tricky.
Yeah.
Unless you gave every salesperson that was a legit quote unquote pro an appointment setter to make sure all that stuff got followed up, at minimum wage plus, a few bucks here and there for this or that.
Well, I mean,
ain't a bad idea.
At some point, if your significant other is home watching the kids,
right, put her to work,
honey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
him or her, yeah.
Right. I mean, there's something there.
Would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that does make sense. That is a tricky thing, man. I don't know. And then throw in some dealerships are outsourcing the whole BDC thing anyway. Our friend Anthony Alagona, he has a outsourced BDC that he actually retained us to give him some people, and I don't know.
Well, but I think a lot of it comes down to training. I can remember being given a list of people to call, and what do you want me to say to these guys?
Right.
I don't care. Just bring them in.
Right. Yeah. Get them in.
Yeah. And don't discuss price over the phone. Just get them in. Okay.
Right. Right. How much was it?
All right.
Right.
Yeah.
When was the last time you bought something you didn't know the price of?
Right. I mean, come on. You walk into Best Buy, the prices are all on the wall, right next to those 75-inch TVs. Right. They'll tell you.
Let me go sideways with you for a minute. Sidebar for a minute. So, real early on. So when I first started selling cars, I was 21, 22, almost 22, and everyone else was 95 years old. Right. And I was, literally, there was, they weren't that old, but they were 60, which to me then could have been 100.
Yeah.
So I had a hard time, my hair was down to my shoulders. I was a total hippie and I had no business being, and no training, no business being on a showroom floor, none whatsoever. So I had a real problem communicating, selling to more mature customers, older people.
Right.
So my sales manager finally got, because older people come in. I shouldn't say old. Older people come in. It was like 3 minutes and I TO moment with my manager, and finally the manager, hey dude, grow some or get out. He said, here's what you're going to do. Here's a phone book. Start with the A's. Call them. Here's what I want you to tell them. This is real.
Well, at least he gave you a script.
Right? So, Mrs. Adams, this is Craig Lockard from Canton, Plymouth. Just want to give you a call, let you know your new Plymouth Valiant is going to be ready tomorrow about 3 o'clock to pick it up. Who's this? Craig Lockard from Canton, Plymouth, about the new Valiant that you bought. It'll be ready tomorrow to pick up at 3 o'clock. Well, I didn't buy a new car. You didn't? Oh, crap. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're Beatrice. I was looking for Aretha Adams. I'm so sorry. But while I have you on the phone.
There you go, Mr. Stuker.
Right?
I got you on the phone.
It's like, right? I mean, that was but you got to make a whole mess of them calls, man, before you get somebody in because you get cussed at, hung up on, or whatever. But
sure.
That's brutal, man. Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we never had to do cold calling. We had such a deep No, we had such a deep client base. We were there for years. So I mean, it was always somebody to call.
So at Winters Honda we have in-house BDC. We have the to choose from. We have appointment setters.
Yeah.
We have, for lack of whatever you want to call them, appointment setters, cradle to grave, or outsource it, get it out of the dealership, and have somebody else handling those incoming and outgoing calls. So
I want it in my store.
Thinking,
I want it in my store.
Definitely. So okay.
Yeah,
So okay.
yeah.
That's
I like Anthony. I've worked
Yeah.
with Anthony. He's a
Right.
great guy.
Yeah.
But I want the BDC on my store.
Right.
If he wants to come work for me, it's all cool.
Yeah, I'll bet. So then, and you're leaning towards cradle to grave, you think?
I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sold on it, but I just don't like the handoff. That's
Right.
hard. That's you get somebody coming in looking for Anthony.
Right.
And
there's been some relationship built there.
Yeah. Yeah, especially now because the process is longer. They spend more time going back and forth now. It's not just an appointment. They're looking for information, and they're going to get that over the phone.
Yeah,
so
it
it's
could
a
take
little
a
bit
bunch
longer.
of texts or a bunch of phone calls or
Yeah.
a bunch of emails.
Yeah.
So there's some sort of relationship.
Yeah, and
that's
even
been
when they
built up.
say, and even when Anthony says, come on in, I'll introduce you to one of my sales specialists, and we'll get this party started for you. When they come in, a lot of times they're, what do you mean? Where's Anthony? Oh, can I meet him?
Right.
Well, he's upstairs working.
Right, and they immediately
Yeah.
almost don't like the salesperson.
Yeah,
Because
you're
it's
not,
like,
you're not
wait
who
a
I've been
minute.
talking to.
Right, I've been talking to Rob. Where's he?
Yeah,
Where's
I
Rob?
don't want to have to repeat myself 1,000 times.
Exactly.
Can we get it? Because he already knows what's going on. Can we just get him down here and involved?
Yeah.
So
It's tricky, man.
There's that. A way around that might be a cradle to grave with a product specialist thrown in.
Yeah.
I've
That's
seen
true.
product specialists, and all they do is demo the car.
Right. Walk around and demo. Right.
And I'd be okay with that,
Yeah.
especially since a lot of salespeople are kind of lacking in that department anyway.
Right.
That might be an idea.
Right.
I have to think about that.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Because it's troublesome for me. What I'm concerned about is that lead doesn't get followed up.
Right.
Because it appears as though the research is being done. The decision to look at cars, it used to be, I think I'm right here, when I sold, back in prehistoric times, there were still dinosaurs. When I sold cars, they made a decision, we're going to buy a new car, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Then they would go out. There's no research, they'd go out and start hitting dealerships.
Well, I think that was the research, though.
Right, yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
really,
that was the research.
We're going to stop at Chevy, we're going to stop at Ford, and we're going to swing by the Plymouth dealer just to see.
Right.
And we're going to collect brochures, and then we're going to go home and we're going to sit on the couch and we're going to flip through the brochures and see which ones we like.
Right. That's exactly right.
Because back then, right, the average consumer would stop in 7, 8, 10 dealerships before they were even close to ready.
That's right, man.
Now, statistically, it's like 1.6.
Yeah, supposedly.
I'd hate to be that 0.6.
Yeah.
So
I sold Buicks for a couple years on the east side, far east side of Cleveland, and there were literally 11 Buick dealerships from the east side of Cleveland to the west side of Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And every single dealer lied. Everybody lowballed the customer.
Sure.
Every single store. Mm-hmm. So it was a matter of, who had the biggest lowball and how you handled the heat when they came back to buy.
Right.
That's literally the way cars were sold. It sounds insane now, but that's what we did.
Well,
we sold a bunch of them.
If you're leaving, let me give you a number that nobody will do.
Right.
Not even me.
Right. Right. Yeah. Oh, what'd you have in mind? $10,000 in my car. Okay, you go ahead and write that on the back of my business card.
Right.
All right, and if it can be done, we'll do it. If it can be done, that's a Jackie Cooper spin.
Yeah.
If we can do it, we'll do it. If it can be done, we'll do it. If it can be done. So then they'd go to the next store and have you been shopping? Yeah. You got any prices? Yeah. Here's mine. Well, that's a bold-faced lie. Now you're calling the customer a liar because that's his or her number. Oh man.
Yeah. definitely some good stuff.
Oh,
But then,
all right.
then the other fork of the trident, or the other spear, the other spear, is service to sales.
Yeah.
I would definitely have a dedicated sales department in the service drive. I mean, just, you know, the key swap thing is alive and well and doing great.
You're spot on.
I would bonus the daylights at a service advisors for flipping customers. You know, give them a piece of the Recon RO or something. You know, it's a no-brainer. You've got a captive audience.
Right.
You know, if you're seeing 100 people a day, or even 50 people a day, you're seeing 50 people a day. There's 30 opportunities in there.
No question about it.
You know, and the reality is, out of those 50 people, right, statistically, 30% of them are going to know somebody, or going to have somebody in the immediate family that's ready to do something.
That's right.
You know, so
Right.
I mean, that's
Right.
a gold mine.
Right. And right now, and not even just right now, there's always the opportunity to literally trade a person up, get them a car with a full factory warranty, and lower their payment, or at least keep it the same, or $5, $10, $15 a month more.
Yep.
Right. Without any. So
Especially now, because I mean, these
Jeez.
poor guys, they're throwing 0% financing out there like it's going out of style.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
the finance money is great. The incentives are real high. Thanks, Lee Iacocca. We really appreciate that.
That's right. That's when it started.
And then the trade values are climbing. Because you know that's the market right now.
They gotta find used cars.
Yeah.
Because they're impossible to find,
Yeah.
from what I've understood. So
Yeah, so getting somebody out right now is easy.
yeah.
It really is.
Well, you know, you brought him up earlier, and that's Paragon and Benstock, and I originally met him. It's got to be 6 or 7 years ago now, 7 or 8 years ago. We were at. There used to be a conference. It was only a conference for 2 years. It was gigantic, very expensive. I think is the reason why. I don't know. They weren't making money on it, but it was called AutoCon, and it was huge.
Okay.
And they gave him the worst. They gave him the lunch hour speaking gig in this gigantic room.
Right.
Everybody's eating. He's up there talking. Well, it was like, and he was talking about a sales department in his service department, just like you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned some numbers that I won't repeat that were like mind-blowing.
Yeah.
The gross profit he was doing at that store with a legit sales force in the service department.
Mm-hmm.
So after he was done, I spotted where he was sitting down eating, came up to him, gave him my card. Sorry to interrupt your lunch, but here's who I am, and here's what we can do, and I suggest that we talk because I can help you double those numbers. Yeah. He says, you know, you're the only guy with the balls to come up and ask me for my business. He said, that's pretty interesting. Here, call this guy Monday. Yep. And, you know, we've done a little business with him for, 8 years since. So, but it's like, Winters Honda, you put a sales team or whatever you want to call it in that service lane, and they're not harassing people.
Oh no,
they're taking them home, they're getting them food, drinks, whatever, but showing them opportunities. They're building relationships back there. Mm-hmm. I think if you're not doing that, in my opinion, I'll go so far as to say that you're running your store wrong.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
The opportunity there, if you suck at it and pick up 5 deals a month.
Exactly. You know, I've even gone as far as suggesting to dealers and managers, when we bring in 3, 4, 5, 6 new hires, whatever the number might happen to be, when you get these guys started, train them. Obviously, you get them some kind of training, but the first couple of months, arrange their schedules so that maybe they got an early day on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Start them at 7:30 and let them go home at 3 o'clock, but have them spend the first 4 hours in service.
Yeah.
Get
their feet wet.
If nothing else, just talking to people.
Yeah.
and they'll trip over deals.
Yeah.
And done correctly, they won't ever want to leave service.
Yeah. Here's how the business has changed. That used to be a penalty.
Yeah.
If you screwed up,
Yeah.
okay, because you screwed up, Craig,
Yeah.
your ass is going to be back in service for the next 2 mornings.
Right.
So right? Isn't that weird?
Dude, I used to
it was
get
a
4 or 5
penalty.
used to get 4 or 5 deals a month out of service. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I went from service advisor to salesperson, so
Oh God.
Yeah.
So we had a guy who was a service advisor for years and transitioned to sales. Everybody lined up at his desk.
Sure.
Everybody that was ever
yeah, it's so and so.
they came to see this guy.
You bet.
It was unbelievable. He probably did 30 cars his first month.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a huge advantage.
Sure it is.
That's a huge advantage.
Absolutely.
And it's good if you're recruiting. Probably not a bad thing. If I'm sitting there and I get a guy interviewing across from me and he's done service writer, service advisor work at another dealership, or I don't care if it's Pep Boys or
Right.
whatever, Goodyear or whatever. I got to take a look at him or her as a. I mean, that's a strong lead to hire, I think.
Absolutely.
All right, so far we got a livable wage, something in their comfort zone, but the opportunity to flip over to commission at some point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're going to make more money that way,
Absolutely.
typically. I mean, some of these guys, though, I see pay plans where there is still a salary and they're getting paid on units and unit bonuses, and they're still making. I mean, you still make 6 figures that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to sell a lot of cars.
But I was going to say, at some point, what is it, the diminishing return or something like that? I mean, you can only sell so many cars. Although
unless you get help,
Ollie would disagree. But
yeah, well, you got assistants. I mean,
still,
they have assistants. So
yeah,
they're
no,
not...
exactly. But for the unlimited income that we talk about,
right?
That's a commission job. That's all commission.
Yeah.
Because if I'm at a one price store, there's no gross. I'm getting paid on units.
Right.
I get that.
Right.
But if I'm at a conventional store,
right,
if I'm good, I can give you a fantastic presentation, a world class demo drive, all the bells and whistles, show you all the value, build the value to where it exceeds the price dramatically, hold gross, make money, and get repeat and referral business from you. That's how you win.
yeah, and that's a professional automobile salesperson.
Yeah, that's the way you do it.
Right. Right.
Anybody else is not going to be in sales very long.
Right.
You'll find them over at Home Depot and wearing the orange apron. They get to drive the forklift every now and then. It's pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that. We have hours that make sense that aren't destroying families. So we have a happy internal customer, i.e. employee, team member. Work the service lane. BDC, we're talking about probably cradle to grave.
Yeah.
All right, what else are we looking at
Alrighty.
here at the store?
My one of my biggest pet peeves, and I always thought it was completely demotivational, especially here in the Northeast. My first winter in the car business was almost my last.
I know what you're going to say.
It was almost my last. We spent days digging cars out.
I know.
And the showroom was empty, and there was nobody on the phones. You had all the guys that were supposed to be on the phones out shoveling cars.
Yeah.
That's just insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You get a couple of high school kids, you pay them $10 an hour, and you keep your sales staff busy where they can make some serious money.
Yeah.
That's just dumb.
I've seen groups on Facebook talk about this exact subject, that balloons or snow, right? Kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Balloons,
snow's worse.
Balloons, not so much. I mean,
right.
We only did balloons one day a week anyway. The town wouldn't let us.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Even on Saturday, it was illegal, but the inspector was off, so it was okay.
But I've heard people, and salespeople, defend snow removal, salespeople being the snow removal company. I've heard salespeople defend it. It's building teamwork. And you know what? Let's find another way to build synergy and teamwork other than shoveling snow, wiping off snow, getting cold, wet.
Yeah.
It's just that. What profession has to do that? It just doesn't make sense to me.
No. None whatsoever. That's the way we've always done it.
That's
Greg.
why lawyers have, yeah, right. That's why lawyers have law clerks, or
Yeah.
you have someone helping you.
Yeah.
That's not automobile salesperson's job is to find customers,
Yeah.
and turn them into buyers and have
Yeah.
them bring other people to you.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're not selling a car, your responsibility is to be doing something that's going to put you in front of another client.
Right, and that ain't brushing off
It's got
cars.
nothing to do with digging out cars.
No, man. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And you're right. You know, it's a minimum wage job, but there's 12% unemployment in the country right now. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but if there's that much snow, the high school's not in session.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Why couldn't you have a call list of
There you go.
available high school seniors that are looking to make some quick cash?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, they're not old like us.
Right. Yeah.
My back hurt.
That's right, man. Yeah. And back in the day when I sold cars, I mean, we went to work suited up.
Yeah.
And we were in suits. Mm-hmm. And, it's like, now I know it's different now in most cases, but either way, it makes, in my opinion, makes zero sense.
Yeah.
0 cents. Unless you're working at a really small store and people are wearing a bunch of different hats, but even then, it might even be more important to have somebody else do it.
Yeah. Because let's face it, in weather like that, your clients are home anyway. You got a better shot at reaching them.
It's a fact.
So that's
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point. And as an owner or a GM or management of any kind of manager, I think you got to take that into stuff like that into consideration. It's all going to help to raise your bottom line because it's going to affect in your sales team in either a positive or a negative way, depending on the decision you make, and that's going to ultimately show up with how they treat your customers that
Absolutely.
you paid for to get in the building in the first place.
Absolutely. But then, the standard comeback to that is that they wouldn't be on the phones anyway. They'd just be hanging around BS and all of that. But that's a management issue. That's not the salesman issue.
Right. If that's happening, shame on you.
Because you only get what you tolerate. So that's
right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if they're not out cleaning enough snow off of cars, they're not going to be doing anything. Okay. Right. Well, whose decision is that by our boss?
Let's call Automax and get some real salespeople in here then, because we obviously have the wrong mix.
That's interesting. Yeah. So let's take Automax out of the picture for a moment. Let's say Automax doesn't exist.
Right.
I was only kidding, God. That's just I don't want to put that out there. I mean, it's obviously it's a loaded question because you're a professional at interviewing and doing the whole thing. But and it's probably an unfair question to you because you've not known any other way really. But when I started in management and we'd run ads,
sure.
The way that no one taught me how to interview. Right. I mean, literally, no one taught. Here I am interviewing people. No one taught me what to say, what to look for. It made it up as you go along.
Yeah.
And so I went from, I'm going to look for people. I sold a lot of cars, so I'm just going to look for people that I feel are just like me.
Sure.
Well, there's a couple of things there. I didn't really totally know myself, for one thing, right? And that wouldn't necessarily work out. Everyone is, it goes back to what I said about Cardone. Yeah, his closes and all that work for him because of his personality.
Right.
But so stuff I would say or do is going to work out for me, but it might not work out for you.
Exactly. You need diversity, so that's
exactly right. And then I would, depending on Rob, and I know you've heard me say this on calls and stuff, but I would literally make up that interview depending on who was sitting across from me.
Right.
I would interview a woman different than a man, a younger person different than an older person, a person of color different from different.
Yep.
I mean, go on and on and on. Someone with a college education, someone without, someone with previous sales experience, someone without. I mean, it was endless. So then I'd get 15 interviews. I've asked them all completely different questions. How in the world do you differentiate and pick the right ones because you haven't interviewed any of them the same way, whereas we obviously have a scripted interview so we can differentiate between good and bad. Talk about that a little bit, what you've seen with that.
You're right. The scripted interview is you got to have it. You got to have it.
No
because even now, and I've been doing this for a couple of days now, even now I find myself drifting a little bit when I'm sitting in front of
Me too.
person A versus person B.
Yep.
I try to always come back to center, but still it's a little funny.
Yep.
And then if you're doing it as a sales manager in your spare time, when are you really doing it?
There you go. This is important. Go ahead.
Because as a sales manager, and I'll deny that I ever said this about sales managers, but sales managers have too much to do.
Yeah.
They absolutely do. They're responsible for everything, including the clogged toilet in the back. So to give me something else, I'm gonna interview a guy. I'm gonna take the folder. I'm gonna put it in the top drawer of my desk, and I'm gonna go sell another car. Thanks. That's what I really get paid to do.
Right.
And then maybe tomorrow I'll interview somebody else. And at the end of 2 weeks, I've talked to 6 people. I don't remember any of them.
Yep.
And
haven't gotten back to anyone.
And there's no way that I can remember the difference between this one or that one. So how do you make an intelligent decision that way?
That's right, man.
So I mean, that's that. This whole, the interview is important, but I think most important is getting all the viable candidates, and I mean viable candidates, in one room and have a conversation.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Because that's really the only way I believe that you can make an intelligent decision as to which ones are going to be a good fit for your organization ongoing.
I couldn't agree more. You're spot on, and it can be done. I mean, I know dealers. We're getting away from it a little bit, and conferences are not going to be the same for a while.
Yeah.
But I've spoken at a lot of conferences, and people would see my presentation and go, "Dude, you're telling them exactly how you do everything. Why would they need you if you're telling them exactly how to do what you do?"
Because they can't.
Right. And I'd say, yeah, I do that, but 1 out of 100 or whatever are going to actually do it, and the rest are going to say, wow, that sounds too complicated, too hard, I'll just call you guys. So,
yeah.
And that's what would happen. But a dealer can do what we do. But their focus, it has to be singular when it comes around to it. Mm-hmm. They got to be spot on to this, man. You can't cut corners. You can't do, it's like the sales process. Well, yeah. I like all these things, but I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to cut that out. Yeah. Recruiting salespeople, and from the minute the ad's written, where to place it, what to do once somebody responds, the proper way to interview them, proper way to onboard them, hire them, and then initially train them, and then ongoing training. That's a whole different story, man. You can't cut out any of that process. No. It's got to be exactly the way that we do it. If you're going to do it as a dealer, don't try this at home kind of thing. But dealers could do it. It would take some resources, and it would take some additional people. But I mean, there is a right way. It's either that or just keep throwing shit up against the wall and hope it sticks, and that's just too freaking expensive to do,
and it doesn't work.
It's brain damage.
But you're right. it can be done.
Right.
But you've got to have, and it comes from the top. You have to have at least a GM, but probably an owner that understands that if you're going to do it, you're either all in or don't bother.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rob.
You know, I mean, my owner did it with me when you know, I had you guys run the advertising campaign,
right?
But I was dedicated for at least 2 weeks plus a week of interviews. So I was off the floor for 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's a commitment.
That's huge.
Right.
You know, so you're either willing to do that,
right,
or call Joe.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
Yeah. Well, and that's important because there's a reason you're the GSM and somebody under you is not.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're better at it. So taking you off of that job, off the desk or whatever for, let's say, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You're going to have to slide somebody into that role. Now, he or she was not as good as you. That's why you got the role.
Right.
So, but even if they're close,
it still costs deals.
It costs them 5-6 deals at a couple grand a deal. That's 12 G's, right? Now you've moved that person out of their role. Now, who are you going to put in their role?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because they're not as good, or they would already had that role, so they might be a closer or whatever. So you might lose another, let's say, 2 deals.
Yeah,
that's another $4 grand. So now you're you're 16,000 in.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's a pretty big freaking commitment,
that's
man.
a chunk.
Yeah, and we don't charge 16,000.
Yeah, no, not last I looked.
Yeah. I wish we could. Maybe we should do that. That'd be nice. But right. I mean, that's the math, and that's I mean, that's just a true story.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, in saying that, long term, if you start them out right, let's take Automax away from it. There's no such thing as Automax or any company like it. If you did it that way, it's still worth the 16 grand to do it right.
Oh, absolutely.
To have someone dedicated. To
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the results are going to be phenomenal.
Right.
You know, the results and the retention and the the effectiveness of your new sales force is predicated on good training.
Yeah.
You know, so if you just kind of throw it against the wall, that's a tough animal.
Right. Social media. So we're at Winters Honda.
Yeah.
We've kind of talked about how we're gonna bring these people out, how we're gonna interview them. And we can double back on the ad and so forth and how some of this stuff works. But we've talked about cradle to grave BDC. We've talked about flexible hours. I guess we'll call it flexible hours. Flexible pay plan, but you know, give them the opportunity to start out with a pay plan that doesn't flip them out and then blow them out immediately. Selling is, for some people, I guess it is second nature, but it is a learned behavior. And if you have to worry about learning that behavior and feeding your family at the same time, that's difficult.
I almost have to disagree now.
Yeah, go.
Because selling, I think, is a natural behavior that has been unlearned and needs to be relearned. Okay, because the most effective salesperson
I'm not sure I've ever heard that. You could be right.
No. The most effective salesperson on the planet is that 3-month-old infant screaming in its crib until it gets fed, and it doesn't stop until it gets what it wants.
That's a strong close.
Think about it, right? I mean, and as you're growing up, you are constantly shut down. How many times have you heard, quit asking?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know, stop it. You're not. It's
no,
not polite to ask.
Don't do that.
Right? Just right. I mean, how many
That's a good
times?
point. A lot.
You know. So now, when I sit in an interview and somebody says, "Well, I'm really not a natural salesperson," I said, "Yes, you are.
Yeah.
You absolutely are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you just have to remember how you did it.
That's true. We are. Yeah. Everybody's always selling something.
Yeah.
To somebody.
Yeah.
At some time.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, so we got pay plan, hours, BDC, service drive, and we talked some about the hiring and so forth. How about social media? What do you see a salesperson's role? I mean, I don't know what's going to obviously what's going to happen going forward. I don't know. We can kick the term new normal, but I think it's doubtful that the world's ever going to be exactly the same way that it was just 5-6 months ago. I mean, I don't know, man. There's too much stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
And so I don't see it. So that being the case, social media almost becomes, and we talked about it a little pre-show. I hate it, man. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, it's just, we get a lot of business from social media.
Yeah.
But I can't, reading, it's gross going through the timelines and seeing the way people treat each other and talk to each other is brutal.
There's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in my travels, when I speak to people about social media, there's a growing number, especially young people, that avoid it. Especially Facebook. Yeah. They're more into the Instagram kind of thing and Snapchat. Even TikTok, they seem to be getting away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
TikTok's interesting. But I think social media is it's not the end all be all.
Right.
Because there's some really successful people that are doing this without a major social media presence.
Right.
And that's fine.
Well, you brought up both the names.
Yeah.
Ali Rita, Frank Rene. Frank does a lot on social media.
Right.
Ali Rita, no, not so much.
Next to nothing.
It's all press flesh.
Right. So I think it comes down to your personality as a salesperson, as an individual. And again, we said it earlier.
Right.
What works for you may not work for me.
Yeah.
So everybody's got their own different thing. Social media, though, when I got into business, one of the first things that Jimmy, my manager, told me, he said, the first thing that you got to do, you got to let everybody know what you do and where you do it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. How we've heard that.
Yep.
And back then it was the wedding and funeral list.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Right. How many people you want to come to your wedding and how many people you hope show up at your funeral.
That's right, dude.
And now I got to get a hold of them. So it's phone calls, postcards, snail mail. Because back then texting didn't exist. I didn't have social media. No email. So that. Facebook, any of those items, gosh, I could reach 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people in about 2 seconds, and then keep reminding them. It's simple.
Yep.
It's absolutely easy.
Yep.
And then you take the guys that really embrace social media and brand themselves and create personalities and just market the daylights out of one another. Right. I mean, that's awesome.
That's right.
If it works for you.
Right.
And it may not.
Right.
I know some guys that are really over the top with this stuff, and it's fun to watch, and they're wildly successful.
Right.
And I also know people that are wildly successful, and they probably don't even have a Facebook account. And
that's right. That's right. And the third to that, and I don't mean to be disparaging to anybody, but I'll see a salesperson on Facebook and they're doing a Facebook Live, and it's like, oh man, it's like nails on a chalkboard, man. It's like, oh, seriously? Did you just say that, man? Yeah. It's like, that's not good. So, So that's a hard one as a dealer to figure out which direction you're going to go there. I think what you'd find is if the dealer is into social media, him or herself, pretty good chance the rest of the crew is going to be too, because he or she is, likes it or feels it's effective.
Yeah, to a degree. I was looking at the last place I was at. I was looking at the pay plan, and as a salesperson, you got paid for positive reviews on all the social media platforms. Right. Facebook, you post a picture of yourself, your client, and their new vehicle on Facebook, it pays $40.
Just for doing that?
Just for that.
Whoa.
I mean, that's how easy is money right now. I mean, think about it. I mean, that's just like, that's stupid money. For what? So obviously the dealer understands or at least buys into the value of social media. And this is the dealer that I was talking to you about. It's working. It's absolutely working.
Yeah, those numbers, it's working.
So it's just, it's there if you want it.
Yeah. I like, and I know I've talked about it on sales calls before, and I get it is, for some reason, it's a little too tricky for you guys to do it, for the trainers to do it. But I like the idea as a salesperson, when I sell a car, to grab the customer, they bought the car, to grab the customer's phone, go Facebook Live with the customer's phone, tag me on it, right, and do a Facebook Live of, I just bought my car here at ABC Motors from Craig Lockerty, so awesome, I got such a great deal, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And his or her, what's the average, 300 friends, they're all seeing this guy, and then, the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon take place, and now you got thousands of people connected in some way on this guy's phone, talking about how great you are. I think that's powerful, man.
I've done that. I've done that a couple of times. I get a little pushback.
I would.
I actually get a lot of pushback. But
I would think. Yeah, I thought from a trader standpoint it'd be awesome, but it just, from what I've heard, it's
hard. It's tough to do.
Yeah, a general manager ain't giving up his phone or her phone.
Typically, no.
But yeah. It would be great if they did, but because typically their friend list is going to be other dealers. Dealers.
Yeah, their friend list is typically the people that I want to reach anyway.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so mission statements, culture. What are we looking for there at Winners Honda? Would you say, Rob? What?
Man, family oriented. And that's a buzzword these days anyway. But definitely family oriented. On a snow day, I want you as an employee to be comfortable to bring your kids. School's out, you got no place to put them. I want you to be comfortable enough to bring your kids and let them hang out in the playroom. I'm down with that. Or even up in the conference room, I'll set up the big screen TV. They can watch Aladdin or
there you go.
Disney movies or whatever the heck it is.
There you go.
Stuff like that. I mean, that's the environment that I'd like to foster, if it were.
Right. Right.
Mission wise, I want to provide world-class service to all my clients, and just go above and beyond what the average dealer isn't willing to do. Whether it's a concierge service or, pick up and drop off or whatever, touchless delivery, all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
It doesn't cost you anything extra.
Right. All of these things that we've discussed this far, before I get to that, because that's kind of a wind-up. Let's just go back to the recruiting of salespeople. It doesn't matter. Literally from porters, because how many stores? I defy you to put a person who's been in the car business 10 years for sure in front of us right now. Every single one of those people, regardless of what their position is at the dealership, knows a story of a porter, a lot boy, a detail guy or girl ending up on the sales floor, right?
Sure.
It's like...
I know guys that started that way, ended up as GMs.
Right. All the time.
Legit,
right?
yeah.
So that porter that you hire is important. That's an important hire, potentially.
Sure. Yeah.
For sure. Whether they stick at that job, which is, they have a standing tall detailed car is super important, or if they have higher aspirations and
not only that, but they'll likely have more contact with your clients than any of your managers do.
Exactly right. No question about it. So when you're looking to, when you have a position open or you're expanding and the growth dictates that you need to run an ad, you got to know who to use, what job boards to use, It's imperative, dealers. This is imperative. Now, this is a little unfair, but one of the reasons, and we have a definite unfair advantage. I call them data points, but we have 600,000 resumes in our database, in our CRM. You're not going to have 600,000, but you can start building that, what we call our talent network. You can start building your own talent network, so you can ultimately rely less and less on some of these job boards, which can get a little pricey. And these job boards, folks, and if you don't know it, you're hearing it from me first. It's like third-party lead generators. They're selling off. So you pay Indeed or any of these places, any of these job boards, you pay them money. They're basically selling the person that applies to your job. They're getting served up other jobs in your area from your competitors. So it's no different than the lead that you're paying for with whoever.
Right.
They're selling that lead to your competitor across town too. Job boards are the same damn way. So, which would piss me off. Well, I mean, they do it to us too, so it does piss me off. But I want to build a talent network. I want to use the proper job boards. Indeed is the big player right now. ZipRecruiter's a big player right now. I think the important thing is, though, to have a plan B, because it wasn't too long ago that Career Builder and Monster were the living end to these things. And now they're scrambling, man. Yeah. I mean, they're scrambling. The money that we used to spend, I don't mind saying, close to $300,000 a year on ads with Career Builder and Monster. It was insanity. And they just got too big for their britches, and it ended up being a nightmare. Yeah. Indeed's going through that a little bit. ZipRecruiter is a little easier to work with, but Indeed's a big bad boy on the block, and you got to be on Indeed. Yeah. But however, in saying that, you absolutely must have your own talent network, and you got to start building that today. And just take that resume and divide it off in a CRM. You can use your CRM. And just divide it off in your CRM by department, by position rather, and just next round you stay in contact with those people. You never know when they're going to become available. Yep. Again, if I'm an investor in Winters Honda, I'm going to strongly urge you, because you're the managing partner, that we have a technician ad running all the time.
Constantly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about 365, and knowing that it's unlikely we're going to get a lot of action off of that ad.
Right.
But I want to be there just in case somebody's moving into town or what have you. Mm-hmm. But one of the true secrets that I'm letting out to why we do so well with technician advertising is we do, like you do reverse mining for a car deal. Yeah. And looking for people in equity positions, so on and so forth, and using your CRM for that. We do the same thing with these job boards and finding techs, and we reach out to them. We're proactive, for trying to grab a tech that happens to have his or her resume online, and we're going to go after them and sell them on why they should move their toolbox. Now, and that's a tough sell. Yeah. It's hard because you better have a pretty good offer, and you can't be cheap. And the alternative to that with techs, whether it be body techs or mechanical techs, the right way to do it, and with a new store like you're talking about, or a state change of mind, I don't care if the dealership's been there 100 years, is, in my opinion, and what I would suggest is a minority financial partner in Winter Motors is that we develop a farm system of automotive technicians, and we start them off as loop techs, and we move them up the ladder, and we provide the training, we provide the tools. We don't let them leave. We build a legit farm team to where they're all King Kong, man.
Yeah.
And we're paying out the ass for these techs, but they're turning hours and they're making us a fortune in fixed.
Yeah.
And you bet, in my opinion, we better now have all our expenses covered in a dealership with our fixed operations. So every car we sell is profit.
You got to be 100% absorbed, otherwise you're going to get killed.
I think so. You
or
have
at least, least close.
Yeah.
You know,
at
NADA says 80, I think, but still.
Yeah.
120 is better.
Right. Right. I want every car because I want to be able to sell cars cheap.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be able to sell them under invoice.
Listen, the fast nickel versus the slow dime, I'm in. Just give me
Amen,
the volume.
man. Right, and then wheel them back into my service department.
Yep.
Right, so where I can make some money, and I'm going to make some money in F&I perhaps, or on the trade-in. But I want to be able to take that cheap deal.
And if you develop your salespeople right, they won't all be cheap deals.
Right, exactly right.
You know, and as long as you're going to be constantly recruiting for techs, which is a great idea, you should probably also be constantly recruiting for salespeople.
I think so too.
You know, because if you keep your finger on a pulse of your sales floor, you know, the top guys are always going to be the top guys, and that's fine. And the guys that are coming up, if there's progress and they're coming up, that's great. They're going to be a phenomenal addition.
Right.
But there's always the low hangers.
Yep.
You know, the guys that maybe they're trying, but sooner or later they're going to stop trying.
Yep, that's a fact.
And the minute they stop trying, they become a liability.
Exactly right. They got to go.
And you know, that's as harsh as it might seem. It ain't personal. It's only business.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It is tricky. It is tricky for sure.
Yeah.
You got a lot of balls up in the air at one time operating an automobile dealership, especially now. But again, I see online story after story after story, and we talked about it. We won't name any names, but a story you did here within the last 12 months that sold a crap load of cars with a minimum amount of salesmen. So if I'm a salesman out there listening, I'm going to say, well, that's great. Don't flood the floor. You know, I sell 20 a month and make, $8,000 a month. Well, okay, that's great. But you're never going to get, so the dealer's stuck at, basically the dealer's stuck, even their big numbers, they're stuck at that number.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you got to work that person a zillion hours. Mm-hmm. So somebody out of that group of salesmen is going to get manageritis, want to be a manager. It's probably not going to happen at that store, so they're going to leave you.
Yep.
I would much rather, and I don't know, agree or disagree with me on this, Rob. I'd rather, if I got that situation, and I'm selling 500 cars a month, and I got 20 salesmen, so their average is 25. You think,
God bless them. Yeah,
I mean, you think your world's perfect, right? Well, wouldn't it make more sense to cut their hours back, put on a second team, up your marketing budget when you have more people.
Right.
You're working the people less hours. You got more traffic. You have more ups, more leads. The only way you're going to go from, let's say, 500-600 cars a month to 800 or 1,000 cars a month, you're not going to do it with that same 20 people.
Can't be done.
No, it just cannot be done.
No.
Over an extended period of time. There's no way to get the growth that you should have. Maybe not that you need, because I don't know how much money you need, but you should need all that's available to get.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is expand. And so you put on another team, you cut hours. You put on another team, you cut hours. You take the person with manageritis, you put them in a
team
like
leader situation or something. Sure.
Exactly how you started, and then you build him or her. Then now you're selling 1,000 cars a month, and you get a phone call. Hey, listen, I know you're really kicking ass over there. I think I'm going to put my store up for sale. Are you a buyer? Right?
All of a sudden, yeah.
right? And then now you own a second store, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 20th, you know, and then some big bad boy comes in and offers you $1 billion for the whole shooting match, and you go buy a big boat.
Hang out on an island.
Right. That you own.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you know, so I don't know. So having that talent network, knowing where to place the ads, important, knowing how to write the ads. See, one thing, when people say, and dealers say it all the time, where did you find these people? It's like, I mean, that's a question that comes up a lot. You know, I've been running ads for blah, 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 blah. And they all say the same thing. Where'd you run the ads? We tell them, well, I tried that.
Yeah.
And I've been trying for 6 months, and I didn't get as many interviews in 6 months as you got in 2-3 days. And I mean, it's like it gets said a lot.
Yeah.
It's just like the difference between one dealership selling Hondas gets X amount of internet leads a month, and a dealer 40 miles away or whatever is getting half that amount of leads a month. Okay. Well, it has everything to do with SEO. It has everything to do with search.
Sure.
And it's the same way with help wanted ads and with recruiting, staffing your dealerships.
Yep.
If no, everything is coded now through Google. If your ad's not showing up on Google, you ain't running an ad.
Yeah.
All right. And that's all. It's all coding that does it. So you got to be up on that. The search, when someone's searching a job, they are less and less and less. Dixie, come here. Dix. Hey, get in here. Dixie, get in here. Sorry, guys. Dixie, the wonder dog, sure. They are less and less going directly to Indeed or directly to ZipRecruiter. They're going to Google, and they're searching whatever search term they're going to use. And if you're not using Google Trends or something like that, your analytics, to figure out what are the most searched terms for the person that you're looking to hire, Dixie. Dixie. You stay here, all right? You're not the guard dog. Come here. All right? All systems go AV. Doesn't need you to be the guard dog. You have to be available in search, and you have got to be using the terms. And the thing that always boggles my mind is dealers come up with all these cool, and you mentioned the word earlier, concierge. So I'll see a sales concierge position available.
Right.
Ain't nobody, Rob,
Searching
concierge. Right. It's just not happening.
All right. I know.
Right?
Yeah.
What they will search is whatever their resume, whatever it says on their resume, sales representative,
right,
or sales consultant.
Yep.
You know, and if you check Google Trends, ladies and gentlemen, check what I'm saying. That's what shows up, most search terms. So, you know, you can, once you hire them, call them whatever you want. You know, I don't care. You can call them whatever, literally whatever you want. But when you're looking to hire them, you got to think as what are they calling themselves on their resume?
Right.
Okay, or in combination with that, what is the most searched term and what you're actually looking for? You know, BDC rep is a horrible title to put in your ad.
Yeah,
it's just not going to get it done. And then the way the ad is tagged and so forth is going to make the difference between getting people or not getting people. Tagging the ad with college graduate, or let's say you're looking to hire more women into your dealership.
Yeah.
We get that asked on occasion, so we'll put stuff in the ad that is more focused on what we call female-dominated industries, whatever that might be.
Right.
And we'll put that in the ad so we capture more people that we'll get eyeballs on the ad that might answer the ad that might, ultimately take care of the dealer and his or her needs. So, I mean, it's a science, and
Sure.
there's data to back it up, and it is a true science, recruiting and staffing. and it's just not a matter. I mean, man, we used to get away with it in the old days, just throwing a big old ad in the paper, and if you put this is how crazy, how far we've come, or how old I am. If you put a row of A's, if you had a display ad and put a row of A's at the top of your ad, that would show up first in the newspaper in the top left-hand corner of the paper.
Yeah.
Because it went by alphabetical order.
Yep.
And you know, there's still games to be played. I guess that's a science of some sort. But the days of just throwing that ad up and having a bunch of good people come in, man, them days are gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, in saying that, again, I don't know what is the number? 11 or 12% of the country's out of work. It was 3%.
Right.
That's a whole bunch of people.
Sure it is.
That's a big opportunity for dealers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some talented men and women out there to hire right now, man.
There are, and I've come across a couple over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
I say a couple. It's been a bunch.
Right.
But again, going back to our ideal dealership, a lot of the conditions, if you will, take those people out of the market. I mean, I'm talking about the salary versus commission,
Yeah. Well, right,
or
right,
the hours, or
right.
things like that. I had a fantastic candidate the other day. Everything was great right up until we sat down and talked about schedules, and it was like, I can't do that. And unfortunately, in this situation, there was absolutely no flexibility.
Yeah.
There was,
By either party.
Exactly. So we shook hands, parted friends, and then I went and got some sanitizer. So that's what
Doesn't
it
that
is.
suck?
It absolutely does.
I mean, that
It absolutely
sucks that you have a good hire, you have a good dealer, and you can't put them together.
Yeah.
Because of something. Because of hours?
Something.
I mean,
something
unless it was
stupid.
absurd. If you're this far apart and well, I only want to work 30 hours a week and I want to leave anytime. That's ridiculous.
That's something else.
Right.
But
and on the, hey, we're open 71 hours.
Right.
You're expected to be here all of those 7, and we'll give you one day off a month or what. I mean, that's obviously ridiculous as well. There has to be a medium ground that makes sense for everybody, man. There has to be, because there's such an opportunity right now at their dealers to hire great people. Think of, if you ran a poll right now and said, I'm looking to hire, and let's use salespeople, service advisors without any experience, BDC, whatever you want to call them. Mm-hmm. And what would you like their previous background to be? Okay, servers are going to be right at the top of that list. Give me a server.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, who's out of work right now?
Oh, God, yeah, right?
Right? I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in your travels, it's tough to find a restaurant, man.
Yeah. Well, here in PA, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
You can actually eat indoors.
Yeah.
Now.
Right. Yeah, you can't in Jersey.
I know. That's insane. That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. Well, that's a bullshit governor.
Well, that's an idiot. But
flat out.
We elected him.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
Or
somebody
or we didn't bother to vote when somebody else elected him, or something like that. I don't know exactly how that worked, but
yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. One of the best salespeople I ever found. I found waiting tables at a Five Guys restaurant. And
God, I want a Five Guys burger and fries right now.
And we just had a conversation, and I asked him, do you like what you're doing? He says, well, yeah, I like talking to people. I says, would you like to have another kind of opportunity where maybe you can turn that love of talking to people into something a little bit better? And we had the conversation a couple of times, and he came to see me at the store, and he's still there.
Yeah?
He's still there. He's rocking cars like they're going out of style.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Yeah. Well, you got the perfect storm there.
Yeah.
They work a lot of hours.
Sure.
Those servers.
Yes, they do.
And if they suck, they don't get tipped.
Yeah.
So they understand,
Yeah.
Service is important and it affects how much money you make.
Absolutely.
And the key is, he said, I like talking to
I
people.
like talking to people.
Yeah. So, as long as he or she can listen, because that's probably even more important, that you're off to a great start with an employee, man.
Yeah.
If you got that happening.
Yeah. You know who else is really good? I found cell phone guys and girls.
Yeah, that's true. See,
If you
I didn't experience that.
Oh, if you're coming out of a Verizon store looking for a job in the car business,
Yeah.
come and see me. I want you now.
Right.
Verizon
Yeah.
and AT&T and
Yeah.
they all do. But
Yeah.
I know Verizon.
Why is that?
Verizon's got a killer training program.
Okay.
They take them to a central location and run them through mock sales and this, that, and the other thing. Plus, Verizon also has they make most of their money on after sale. I'll sell you a cell phone and that's great,
Right.
but I make my money when I sell you the insurance and the stylus and the case and the protector and all of that stuff. And
Gotcha.
and they run it very competitively. They post numbers like weekly, so you already know where you stand in the store. So it's pretty good. And these guys come in, they already understand the value of repeat and referrals because a lot of the good ones,
Right.
their customers are constantly coming in, upgrading and
Right.
and sending people and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a home run.
Because we tag all our ads with that, and I've always wondered what for
Yeah.
any kind of sales position, and I've never questioned it. It's like, why?
Oh, no.
But because I never.
Yeah.
I mean, there were cell phones when I first started Automax, but
But they were in a big bag.
right, they were
Weighed 15 pounds.
Right, yeah. Your bill was $500 a month, or more,
Or more.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
roaming charges.
I had one of those.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I had a cell phone bill over $1,000 one month.
Yeah.
Probably a couple times.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. And then you call them back and and negotiate it down. It was weird.
Yeah.
They would actually do that with you, man. Yeah, that was weird. That's an interesting point, though. Those are the kind of people. But the opportunity dealers, managers out there listening is just huge right now. Take advantage of it. Yeah. And that's the thing. Again, I've seen on social media is, and I see it a lot, that we're selling more cars, making more money with less staff.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to take them at their word that they are, in fact, selling more cars, making more money with less staff. I'm going to take them by their word.
Okay.
And this is not totally self-serving, although we would obviously, it would help us if what I'm about to say next took place. If, in fact, those three things are true, selling more cars, making more money with less people, what would happen if you increase the number of people that you have in certain positions in the dealership and they were properly recruited, properly trained, and properly retained? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you, in fact, sell even more and make even more money?
Well, I will listen. In my gut, I don't believe there is such a thing as flooding the floor.
I don't either.
I really don't.
I don't either.
Because your 20-car guy is going to sell 20 cars. I don't care who's on the showroom floor.
I hope you're hearing this out there, because I've said that. When I sold cars with 8 other people on the floor and 18 other people on the floor.
Yeah.
And I sold 30 cars a month.
And that was it.
Regardless of it.
Yeah.
It did not matter.
Yeah.
I think you are absolutely dead center.
Yeah.
And that's an absolute fact.
Yeah.
Absolute fact.
So I mean, if you want to sell more cars, hire and train more people.
Right. Yeah. You got to train them.
Training is the operative word.
Right. It's not bodies.
No.
Don't just. It is not about bodies.
They can fog a mirror. Thank you.
That's flooding the floor, I guess.
Yeah.
If there is such a thing as flooding the floor, it's just hiring people just to fill up desks.
But the only people that it hurts are the people that aren't going to be in sales 6 months from now anyway.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Really.
Right. Who probably shouldn't have been hired in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother show.
Yeah.
What do you see All right, so I don't think I've ever spent that much time with a guest talking about a dealership, and I think we got a pretty good start to a very profitable Honda store here at Winters Honda. But in your crystal ball, this is right out of left field, but what do you see happening over the next couple years? Let's see. Yeah. Some of these things have so many what ifs because did you see this thing? Did you see the thing about the CDC putting out that only, what was it?
Yes.
Only 6% of the reported COVID deaths did not have what is it called? Chromality? Another underlying condition.
Coexisting issue or whatever. Yes,
Right.
yes. I just saw that the other day.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of different ways to read that thing. But obviously, it changes the numbers from 150,000 in the U.S. down to 9,000 if you take all those out of there, which you probably can't actually take them all out of there. So that can be spun in a lot of different ways, depending on your feelings on this whole mess. So I don't. Is a vaccine? I don't know how much a vaccine is going to change our behaviors as a society in the U.S. I don't know what it's going to do worldwide. Frankly, all I care about right now is the U.S.
Right.
I don't know what that's going to do. I don't know what the advance of different therapeutics is going to do. I don't know whatever happens in November. I don't know what that's going to do. I mean, there's so many variables right now.
Yeah,
right?
November is going to be such a shit show.
Oh man, really could be. Really,
no,
could
it's going to be. It doesn't matter which way it goes.
Does not.
It's going to be an explosion, no matter which way it goes.
Yeah. So millions of people are going to be pissed off.
Yeah, yeah, on either side of the fence.
Regardless.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah. All of that aside.
Yes.
Going forward, I don't think, I'm not being, I don't think we're being braggadocious or whatever, and we're going to get better and better and better, we meaning Automax. But what do you see in terms of dealers and Automax and how we coexist and grow together and improve the car business through the human capital, the people that we together provide for them? What's your crystal ball say is going to happen, or what's it going to look like in 2022 just as your guess, because it's obviously just a guess, but
in 2022, my kind of vision is, I think we talked about this too, is having Automax, us, as a more consistent vendor relationship, as opposed to the, oh crap, we need people, let's call Automax, how much is it going to cost us this time? Instead of that, an ongoing budgeted relationship with consistency. Always be looking, always be closing, right? I mean,
right.
Come on, dealers, right? So always be looking for that next best candidate.
Yeah.
Don't let the tail wag the dog.
Yeah.
That's what I see. That's the way I hope it goes.
Right.
Whether it does or not is anybody's guess, but that's what I'd like to see. That's the way I'd like to see it go.
And to that, and I because we're doing, I don't know, we probably have 20 dealers doing it this way right now, but we're trying to put people on a quote unquote subscription basis,
right,
to make it more affordable for dealers, and they have more of a fixed cost, know what their hiring is going to cost them,
right?
So it becomes more of a fixed expense. And then dramatically reduce the cost of the per hire, to where the dealer ends up winning exponentially, and obviously we win because higher volumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think that's a good point. We have to take our relationship with the dealers further within the store to where they, Automax becomes like Kleenex or Jell-O. It's not, it's not gelatin. It's Jell-O.
It's Jell-O.
Right. I think that obviously it'd be good for. And it's got to be good for everybody. The dealer's got to win. The potential employee's got to win. It's got to be a seamless situation for them. We have to make it easy for them, make it easy for the dealer, make it easier for the recruiter trainer. Yeah. Make more opportunities available to men and women that do what you do. Those of you that, it's like, oh, you trainers, you must live a glamorous life and this and that. I'm going to tell you what, dude. That is a grind. It
has its moments.
It is a grind. It has its moments where it's like, okay, get me through this week.
Yeah, right.
Just get me through this week. But yeah, it is brutal. So we're. You want to take a guess how long we've been here?
Where are we? 2.5.
2:51.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Is that crazy? Or what?
Yeah. Yeah, on the way here, I'm thinking, wow, 2 hours? How the hell are we going to fill that?
Right. Yeah. And we've talked about basically two things.
Yeah.
Winters Honda and how you got in the car business.
Yeah.
That's basically all we did.
Well, there you go.
All right. Let's wind it up this way. How can, and repeat it a couple times, but how can people find you? Rob's unique in that he has a little different role in Automax, where he has some opportunities that maybe some of the other trainers might not have. He can go a little deeper in some stuff with dealers, so that's important for the dealers, managers, and so forth that are listening. But if a dealer wants to talk to you about staffing or MaxSafe consulting products or anything else that we do, all the different ways that they can find you, get a hold of you, get to know about you and who you are. How can dealers do that?
A couple of different ways. All right. Obviously, first of all, if you're on Facebook watching this, just click my name.
There you go.
Inbox me, message me. Whatever you got to do. My phone number is on my is on my thing.
Yeah.
And just in case you can't read it, it's 973-866-5112. Rob at rjwinters.com or rwinters at automaxrecruiting.com. All go to the same email box.
Good.
I also have a website. It's rjwinters.com. You'll find me there.
rjwinters.com? Good.
Yep.
Okay.
You'll find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You'll find me on Twitter, but I think Twitter is only good for politicians getting in trouble. I'm not sure.
That's the only thing I use it for. Basically, I'll throw some propaganda around retweets and stuff.
But like I said, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, website, and it's Rob at rjwinters.com. It's probably the easiest email to get me.
Right.
973-866-5112.
Right.
Anytime, day or night. I'm up late.
And obviously, you can always contact Automax too, and just tell them you want Rob to handle your account, and the folks there at Automax will make sure that he does that for sure. And Rob is the roving recruiter, man. He'll load up that big bad boy and just push 6 of your used cars out of the way, and so he can put his camper on your lot there. And
get yourself a big banner made. We can hang it right on the RV.
That's
we'll
right.
Shine lights on it and stuff. We can have an event.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Right? We get those little dancing, the dancing.
The wavy arm guy?
The wavy arm guy, right? Maybe an inflatable.
Dude, we should do that.
Right? A couple of gorillas or something. Yeah.
Dang.
Well, we can have a good time. A wavy arm guy.
A wavy arm guy hiring now.
That could be fun.
Inquire within.
Not for nothing.
How much those things cost?
Like $300-400.
Is that all?
Yeah, it's not that much.
Dude, that might be worth a shot. I might try that. We might do that for you.
That could be fun. That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, what were you gonna say something else?
I don't know now.
Yeah, all right.
I totally lost track with the wavy arm guy.
Yeah, right. He's like, oh. Well, I appreciate you coming in this morning.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I had a good time.
Yeah. I haven't seen you in a long time. The last time I saw you was
It was at the Christmas party.
Yeah, at the party.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow, man. We got to figure out. This has been a little more difficult year. We've had, thank God for the PPP loan.
Yeah, amen.
That was troublesome for a while there, but we're back on track. I mean, we're basically only down maybe 10% for the year. So
that's not bad. You know, it's funny talking to the dealers. A lot of the dealers that I've been in, their numbers are better year to date right now than they were same time last year. Even after being shut, because they were shut down for a while. I mean, a couple of weeks at least.
I don't get it. I guess it had to have something to do with the 1,200. It had to, and there were banks buying people that were unemployed.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they were getting unemployment plus the $6.
Right.
So, in a lot of cases, they got a raise.
Yeah.
So, I guess, 0% at 84 months is, free money is.
Free money is great money. It's insane for them, but good for us, I guess.
Yeah.
The other thing too, with COVID, people are shying away from public transportation. So if you're not willing to get on a subway or a bus, and you don't have a car, well, guess what?
Yeah.
That's a piece of it too, I think.
That's true. That's true, huh? Yeah, that's a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Do you notice over the weekend, read any stories about it? It looks like a legit mass exodus out of New York City.
Yeah.
With the lines in front of U-Hauls.
Yep. People with storage units. I was talking to somebody in real estate the other day. Houses aren't lasting on the market. They're getting bid on like immediately.
My neighbor, 5 houses down. There's 3 or 4 different models in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. This guy's house, he's got the least expensive model, but this guy's house is beyond immaculate. He's made it, it's ridiculous. It is pristine, doesn't do it justice. Yep. It was on the market for 3 days and ended up into a bidding war. Yeah. And it only moved like 10 grand.
Right.
But, we're talking about a $250,000 home. Huh. So it's all relative. He was shocked. It was like, I'm thinking, it could take a couple months to sell the house, and it's like 3 days, and they started bidding on it, man. Yeah. Because I'm considering selling mine in the spring, and it's like, all right, let's go.
I'll tell you what.
I'm ready, man.
Yeah.
I've had enough. I'm done with New Jersey, man.
We are seriously considering. My wife doesn't want to leave the kids.
Right.
My son lives in Brooklyn. He and his wife are in Brooklyn, and my daughter, getting married, is in Wanacue, so half hour from my house.
Right.
However, my daughter works for Sony, and they've been working from home since this whole mess started.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there's a better than even. She's a marketing manager, an email marketing manager. So it's all virtual. And Sony is actually considering not reopening the office.
Whoa.
And making them all remote positions. And if they're all remote positions, my daughter has already told my wife,
"See ya.
I'm going south."
Right.
And my wife said, "We won't be far behind you."
Right.
So.
Well, my dad lives in South Carolina, I think you probably know, and it's like, I've over the years, talking about pretty serious raise, making the same amount of money.
Yeah.
The difference between living in South Carolina and New Jersey.
Yep.
And Joe moved to Delaware. Uh-huh. It's insane. Yeah. He bought twice the house he was in. More than twice the house that he was in.
Right.
And his payment is substantially less.
Yeah.
Because of the taxes alone, man. It's it's crazy. And I'm looking at land in Delaware right now. Yeah. I can't stand being away from my granddaughters. It's just grinds my gears. So
Yeah,
so
we don't
I
have grandkids
yeah.
yet, so that's not an issue. But
Wait till that happens.
But that's what my wife
life-changing.
is concerned about.
Of course.
So
Yeah. Yeah, you got to try to stay relatively together because my other 2 grandsons are in Ohio, and it really sucks, man.
Yeah.
It's like, especially now, it sucks. You're traveling and
that's
testing
hard.
and whatever, man.
Yeah, that's tough.
I want to go see my dad. He's 92 years old, and I can't figure out how the heck to do it.
Yeah,
because you got to get tested. I can't. I'm personally, even though our guys do it, I'm personally not ready to get on an airplane yet.
Yeah.
I'm just not. Call me a wimp, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm just not ready yet to do that.
There's levels to this whole thing, and while I will never discount the entire idea, and listen, I wear a mask when I need to wear a mask.
Right.
I practice social distancing, and
Right.
I don't do I don't do hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Soap and water is my thing. It's hand sanitizer.
Supposedly it's
I'm not a
yeah.
but I don't know. It's tough. There's way too much disinformation out there, or just bad information.
Right. Or lies.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just flat out lies
Yeah.
for political reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a crazy world that we live in without a doubt, and it's
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Fauci the other day said that it was perfectly okay to vote in person.
right.
I haven't heard that on the news, but that's what he
Right.
said.
You won't.
I know.
You won't. That's the mind blowing thing about it.
I know.
The media's always been a little bit screwed up. It is so blatant now.
Oh, yeah.
It is just obscene.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a clip. I watch a guy by the name of Tim Pool, young guy. It's called Timcast.
Okay.
And he's on a couple times. This guy he became quote unquote famous during the what was that called 10 years ago, the Wall Street
Enron?
protests. No.
Oh,
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall
yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam. And this guy was a Democrat, period, end of story, liberal.
Yeah.
They want to hear about, period. Well, he has, and he's been on Rogan several times, and now he is like, he says it almost every broadcast, right? I'm voting for the president. I'm voting for Trump. He don't trust anybody. He's the media. He's the only one. He's still a Democrat
Right.
that's going to vote Republican. And he said that Don Lemon said, and he showed the clip, so I know that it's true. I shouldn't even say that. But Don Lemon said on CNN that these rioters, the rioting and the looting and the vandalism and the violence
Yeah.
is costing them, meaning the Democrats, at the polls.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, seriously?
And that's why it has to stop.
Right.
I know. I heard that.
Unreal.
Yeah.
It's like they don't really care about people. They just want to win. And, it's like, oh, the riots are causing a problem. Okay, then we should stop the riots so it doesn't cost us votes. It's like, what? That is so messed up, man. I don't get it. Let's stop the killing because killing is bad. Can't we all get along?
Yeah, right. Please.
Let's just be freaking kind to each other, boys and girls. Just be kind to each other.
Yeah. No,
Let's give that a shot for a while.
the quest for power and money is pretty horrid.
Yeah. Adam, anything you want to add to this nonsense here before we wrap this up?
Nothing. Seemed like you guys covered it all.
Yes, we did.
All right.
How's your family, Adam? Everything good?
Everybody's fantastic. Little man's turning 2 in about a month.
Ho!
Very nice.
We don't have terrible twos, right? Actually, you know what? I found out it's the half years that are bad. 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, half, right up to like around 35 or
35
36. And they start to level out a little bit.
So like 1.5 until 2.5, and all that time in between.
Yeah,
until
exactly.
3.5, 4.5.
Yeah, yeah, you're screwed. In other words, you and your wife are screwed for the rest of your lives.
Good, great. Is that the only one, Adam?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, so far.
So and that's your son?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
First son.
Awesome.
First child.
She doesn't let him have sex that often, so that's why we're going to stay that way
that's-
for a while.
There you
Poor
go.
Adam, I pick on him too much. All right, Mr. Winters,
Hey.
it's been a blast, dude.
Had a
I mean,
good time.
I could sit here with you all day and just shoot the breeze, but we're not gonna. But thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for everything you do with the company. Your story is awesome. It's one of those things where it's just I love hearing it.
Yeah.
Like, and I found out more. And Ernie wrote in there. He said he didn't know about the deli, but it's a pleasure. It's an honor to work with people like you, and a person like you, such as yourself. And I've had the opportunity to meet your wife on several occasions. She's awesome, and she spent some time with the company. So it's just. I really appreciate you coming in here today and doing this, and just looking forward to really cool things going forward with you and Automax and everything.
Awesome. Well, I got to tell you, this has been a phenomenal experience. This was a lot of fun.
Good.
I had a really, really good time. So
Good.
so I appreciate the hospitality and the opportunity.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
And it's funny, when I sat with Jer Conover, we were at the hotel, and I don't remember if it was, I think it was Thursday. I don't think it was Friday. We all filed into this little hotel room and sat around a telephone, and there was a conference call. It was the first time I actually heard you.
Oh, that's right.
Craig Locker's going to talk to you guys. So who the hell is Craig Locker? Who is this guy?
Right. Yeah, that's right.
You know? So
That's right. We used to do those national conference calls. I talked to 300, 400, 500 people at a time across the country.
Yeah.
Those were at Wednesday at 4:30 is when we did those, 4:30 Eastern on Wednesdays.
Was it on the first day?
Yeah. It was at the end of the first day typically.
Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh God, we got to end this, man. We're gonna
Come a
be
long
here
way,
the
baby.
whole time. Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
All
No
right.
doubt.
Thanks again so
All right.
much. Guys, folks, reach out to Rob. You won't be sorry. And get him through Automax or anywhere online. Just Google him up and you'll see him. Thanks a lot, and peace.
Take care, guys.